Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mailfuzz TV. I am Peter, and I am joined, as per usual, by Matt.
Hey, what's up?
Connor's here too, as I rub my eye really awkwardly, unprofessionally. But you know, sometimes you get a thing in your eye. You can't.
You do, and I'm pretty tired, so I'm like half here.
You're half here. That may be better than when you're all here. I'm not sure.
It might. We'll find out.
When you're not here at all, that's not enough. When you are here completely, it's too much. It's a bit, just too much Connor. Maybe half and half's the right mix.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see if we can make this a regular standard.
Matt, what you're just staring blankly at the world. Okay, so we talk about DC Comics, and coming up on this week's show is actually quite a packed week of books. We have Dark Knight's Metal #4. We have Superman 37, which is the start of the Super Sons of Tomorrow crossover. Part 2 of that's also this week with Super Sons #11. And then we have Batman 37, Justice League 35, Green Lanterns 37, Nightwing 35, which is the start of the new run by Sam Humphries. And we also have Batwoman #10 and Aquaman #31. So that's all the books that are coming up on this week's show. Before we get to those, though, a couple of tidbits. Solicits were this week, and a couple of little things that popped up in here of interest. First one is definitely depressing. You're going to like this. The suspense. Yeah, there's a bit of speculation or something, or maybe a reaction or something. Sorry.
Well, we got nothing to react to yet.
So, if you look through the solicits for March, you might have noticed that there was no Doomsday Clock in there.
I hadn't noticed. I hadn't looked through them, but damn.
Yeah. They confirmed that it's skipping March. It's also skipping next August. There's 2 skip months, which actually, I mean, they're evenly spread. It's like, 4 issues, skip month, 4 issues, skip month. It also means it's going to end in December next year. So,
I wonder if it's like split nice and neatly into like 3 acts.
It may be, yeah. I guess
it'll feel like a natural breaking point.
I guess they figured that maybe they knew the art would fall behind, so they built in this time, split it into 3.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's not the quickest artist, is he?
No, he's not. But he's very good. So
he is.
So just get used to that idea now that we're skipping August next year as well. So you can brace yourself for these gaps, and hopefully though that means that there won't be delays because they've built in this time, and we'll get it as planned.
Yeah.
That's the hope. And then the other thing that came out of this, the other thing that was missing as well, there was 2 things missing of note. Action Comics 1000 was not in the solicits, even though it should be the 2nd issue in March, going for the schedule. It turns out the reason for this is actually a pretty reasonable one, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a delay like, oh, someone's behind on a story or something like that. Nothing like that. They actually someone realised in the office, they went, hey, wait a minute, April 18th. That's the 80th birthday of Superman. That Action Comics #1 came out on April 18th, 1938. We could have the 1000th issue coming out on the 80th anniversary. Why are we not doing that? And then decide to do it. So that's when we're getting it. So it does mean that it's effectively single shipping for at least March, probably April as well.
I'd expect April as well. Yeah.
So, so I get that. It makes a lot of sense. Make it feel special, give it a month to itself, and
it is kind of nice that April 18th is a Wednesday as well.
Yeah, it just so happens that that's a Wednesday.
Yeah. It's the 3rd Wednesday in the month, so I would expect it to be single shipping for that month. If we got one in March, and
plus it's probably going to cost at least 2 issues worth to get. So
at least, yeah.
Yeah, so that adds up as well.
Man, I can't believe we're getting to 1,000.
I
really didn't think when I started reading comics I'd see that. With all the renumbering.
Whoa, Jesus Christ.
That was terrifying.
My Skype's acting up.
You're fine now,
isn't your Skype acting up?
He was bragging before we started that he'd finally figured out Skype. He'd been trying to fix something for weeks, and he was bragging that he'd finally got it. He was all happy, and now it's failing more than it ever has done.
Yeah. It's like when you plug a hole in a dam with your finger, and then 4 more pop out. Yeah,
that's what it feels like. So you were saying about Action Comics?
No, just basically I never thought when I started reading comics, I'd hit 1,000 with all the renumberings. Like when the New 52 happened, I was like, well, there goes that. Like, sure, it'll be the 1,000th issue, but it won't be number 1,000. But lo and behold,
here we are.
Things keep changing.
So yeah, issue 1000's coming in April. So still no word on how many pages or what the price is going to be, but
a scary amount.
I would expect so. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a $10 book.
I feel like I'll be okay if that's the only book that week. I'll still have enough to read.
It won't be, but yeah. Yeah. So that's the two things from this list that I feel are worth mentioning. By all means, every month I always miss something if someone says something in the comments about.
I know. I was looking at the Supergirl, because I was seeing if Jodie Hazard was taking over yet. Because obviously she's been co-writing, and I was waiting to see if she took over full time, and that's when I could jump on. There's someone else co-writing that issue.
There is, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's not, but it dashes my hopes of it. It means now that it's just going to be probably people scripting with Orlando plotting, which is better still. But I'd hoped for just it was priming for Hauser to take over, where it doesn't seem to have been that.
Yeah, I'd have been cool with her taking over because I think the book has gotten better with her involved. But I'm curious to see how the other.
Yeah, I'm not against whoever it is. I can't even remember who it was, but it was no one who made me go, "Oh, I don't want to read that necessarily." But
it was someone new because it was someone from the New Talent Showcase from last year, I think. That was where we knew the name from.
Right. Yeah. But I just a little disappointed, I guess, that I don't have that happening.
To be fair, like that was something you'd built up for yourself that you
it was.
predicted
It was.
That was going to happen.
It was a hope that I'd hoped for, and yeah, just a shame.
How's Skype, Matt? How you doing?
I'm just trying not to mess things up.
Don't touch anything. Just if you can hear us, we're good.
I am.
That's awesome. We're good. So, yeah. Just first of all, people were thrilled with the sales talk last week. We got so many outpouring fan letters, all sorts of things. Most
of them by a guy named Peter.
Just the best fans. I'm doing a bit of a Trump bit there. I don't know if that was coming across.
No, because you're way too eloquent.
Thank you. I mean, it's not a high bar to hit, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
But no, so we had obviously one of the things we were talking about last week with the Doomsday Clock being both 1 and 2, with the one being the regular cover, one being the lenticular, and we were just curious what the actual breakdown of that was figures wise. So I figured I'd check because all the figures are up now. So number 1, Doomsday Clock, the regular cover, was 119,412. Doomsday Clock Lenticular, which was number 2, was 119,231.
Very close, then.
Very close. Like that is less than.
It seems like most shops were probably ordering them equally.
Yeah,
it kind of sounds like it. So no, super close. There was only 2 books that over 100,000. That was Batman Who Laughs and Batman Lost, which were 105,000, 101,000 respectively. So no, that's it. I don't want you to delve in unless there's any particular book you were curious about its placement.
No,
because I can find it. I can control F it and I can tell you where your book is, number 72 with X.
That's what I'm gonna start saying when I hit challenges in life. I'm just gonna control F it.
Control F is extremely useful, extremely handy. Extremely.
I use F3 because it's less clicks, less presses.
It's not clicks.
Yeah. I realised I told you I'm tired.
Aye. Clearly. So we'll move away from that, and then I guess we can get on. Although there was a bit of Marvel news this week that Connor kind of wanted to talk about.
I thought it was interesting.
Go on, tell us about it.
Jim Starlin has had a bit of a falling out.
Well, just for context, I think this is important. Who is Jim Starlin, and specifically, what did he create? Yeah.
I was getting to that. That was part of the context of the story. You always
patience, Padawan.
Don't you tell me to be patient with a Star Wars reference, son of a bitch.
It's nice to know there's a really easy way to aggravate him, isn't it?
Oh man! Once I found that out.
Yeah. So Jim Starlin is famous over there for creating Thanos.
Right.
He's been working on a Thanos project lately. I think it's been a graphic novel trilogy, and it's he's been working on it for however long, about a year, I think he said. And it's there's 200 pages of script done, 100 pages of art finished, and I think there's a Thanos ongoing has been happening lately. I don't keep up enough to be aware of if it's going on still or if it's finished. Because it might have done. Who knows with Marvel.
Well, Marvel cancelled like 6 books this week, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Right, exactly. And essentially this ongoing book has a very, very similar plot to the graphic novel trilogy. And of course the editors would have been aware of that and okayed it anyway, allowing the monthly comic to come out first and undermine their trilogy that they'd been working on longer. He's not happy, and he said he's just not working with the current editorial until it's all changed.
I remember when this was stuff DC would do, and now it's not, so I'm happy.
That's why I like mentioning it. It's like, well, it wasn't so long ago we were driving people away.
Do you know, it reminds me of video games a lot. It's like being a PlayStation fan during the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PlayStation were the ones doing everything wrong, and it was like impossible to even defend them. And then the PS4 and the Xbox One came along, and all of a sudden it was like, oh no, now I'm on the right side of the fight. This is great. Same thing.
I just jumped fences, to be honest, when it came to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was more 50-50 because of the reasons in that gen, and then, but once it was like, oh yeah, the Xbox One is useless for you, I was like, okay, I never need one, it's fine. But hey, we'll just bore Matt with more video game talk, because that's
video games.
Sometimes I feel like Matt's this old man that we just kind of entertain and keep him engaged, keep him motivated.
All right, he'll be happy later.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling there's a specific issue which he's going to be very happy about.
Yep.
Fake news is all I'm going to say. It's got
not fake news. That's real news. You're fake news.
Your face is fake news.
No, it's not. My face is real news. That's what real news looks like.
All right.
I was looking up the stuff that Starlin did at DC, and there's nothing that really sticks out.
It did. Was he not the one that did Stormwatch during the New 52?
Yeah, I think so.
And I imagine, because then that was kind of it, and then nothing else happened with him. I wonder if he had some problems with editorial. I mean, that wouldn't be the only one during the New 52, would he?
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's a chance of him coming back over now that things have shaken up.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, get him on a Dark Side book. It's basically the same thing. all of a sudden,
the same thing created by Jack Kirby and was clearly first.
Oh, it was. No, I like Darkseid more. I'm just saying that when they're both big dudes. That's the big thing, right?
Big space dudes.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? See when we finally get a Darkseid in a movie of some kind, hearing people say, "Oh, it's just copying Thanos," is going to drive me up the goddamn wall.
I know, but it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Well, I've already heard it.
They haven't even seen Darkseid yet.
I know. But the fact that they were building to Darkseid already had people going, oh, they're just ripping off Thanos. I was like, do you even read comics, bro? Because you don't, so shut up.
That was just the comic version of Do You Lift, Bro? Do You Read, Bro?
I know. Yeah. Well, that goes to an old joke between me and Mario back in the day. That do you even read comics, bro? Because we had one foot in each world, so we could fuse them.
I feel like you two should have opened up a comic shop that's just for weightlifters, and it's just a bunch of dudes with no sleeves on, just talking about their favourite comic books. I feel like it would mostly be Batman talk, much to Matt's displeasure.
No, actually, I see plenty of people at the gym in everything now. It's quite weird. There's like superhero workout gear, which growing up and playing football, but liking comics, it made fun of for it.
The world's changed, absolutely, yeah, it absolutely has.
Yeah. So, and these are like legit guys. Like, there's a dude with a Masters of the Universe tattoo that's heavy lifting, and it cracks me up. Yeah, like.
Yeah, no, I can't follow it. Can you get Squirrel Girl workout gear?
Probably soon.
Just love a pizza, Squirrel Girl. I can't help it.
It's been a while, so I thought I'd throw it in. It's a DC show. I don't get to say Squirrel Girl all that much. Yep. She's from the other camp. She's going to be a TV show soon, though. So
that's when the workout gear will hit.
Yeah, exactly. I like the idea though of it being like a big muscly guy with Squirrel Girl gear on. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine if the girls are working out in Squirrel, but a big muscly beefcake guy lifting weights.
Yeah, you don't talk crap to that guy no matter what. Like, you wear a tutu while he's squatting 425 pounds. You're not going to say nothing.
Yeah, that said, my favourite young female hero from Marvel now is officially Honey Badger. I just want to put that out there. Honey Badger.
Sorry, who's Honey Badger?
She's well, it's the younger sister in All New Wolverine, the Gabby.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be her hero name. It's Honey Badger.
Jeez.
It's fantastic. Hey,
I'm not sure if that's an
Wolverine
awful
and Honey
name or
Badger.
amazing.
Honey Badger's fantastic. You shut your goddamn mouths. This is the one book from Marvel that I'm currently enjoying. Just shut up.
I can't wait for Mink Weasel.
I was gonna check that out, but after hearing Honey Badger, I'm not sure it's worth
No,
it.
it's great.
No, I love honey badgers. Honey badgers are great. It's weird that that's a hero.
Exactly.
They have an actual pet Wolverine. It's fantastic. All New Wolverine.
See, that goes all the way the other way around. Like pet Wolverine, yes. Hero named Honey Badger, no.
Yeah, I recommend it, and you can go check it out for really cheap right now because there's a lot of Christmas sales on Comixology if you read digitally. Look at that segue, Connor. I said I was going to mention the sales.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for it. I was like, I could see it. I was like, go on, do it.
So obviously the one we're going to mention most is the DC one. It's a giant DC sale. Every trade just about ever is $5, including the big massive ones that are like 500 pages. There's some fantastic deals in there. So
yeah,
check it out. Go have a look if you like digital comics.
Stand out to me is usually these sales. It's okay, released up to X day, but this includes things that came out the day the sale started, and some of the big ones. You know, the big thick trades. The first JSA by Jeff Johns,
which I already got. Yes.
Yeah, that's sitting in my basket. I'm kind of waiting, and just
that
get them all
and the Shazam: The New Beginning mini-series got a new collection. That was like the sort of post-crisis retelling of Shazam's origin. That came out. That was quite pricey, but that was on sale. In fact, the sale went up so early with these new books being out is that when you first went to the sale, they were there on sale, but it still said pre-order.
It was weird
on the page. It was a really bizarre thing.
There's also a lot of Vertigo stuff in the sale. Yeah,
a lot of Vertigo. Again, basically every trade, barring maybe a few exceptions, but all the things you'd probably think of is all there. Honestly, my only complaint with these big sales, and I said this to Connor earlier, is that it's almost harder to pick what to buy when it's just that broad and it's everything.
Yeah, I feel like I just look for what's the best value and go, right, well, I'll just get those for this now. Because
if it was like if it was a Superman sale, I'd say, oh, right, okay, I'll look through the Superman stuff I've been thinking of and I'll get maybe 3 or 4 things, whatever. But here it's like, okay, right, I could get anything.
I will say I do try and avoid getting just Batman, Superman books in these sales because there's going to be sales for Batman and Superman.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Then, if you don't want Batman and Superman, Booster Gold, 1 through 6. I'm sure that's on sale.
There's plenty of Booster Gold in there. Yeah.
Get that. Read it over Christmas. By the next time Action comes out, you'll be ready to go.
But yeah, I try and get things that are not going to get their own sale necessarily, or at least not ones that I expect to get very often.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. I already got a bunch of stuff. I was going to start on various things. I've got up to volume 5 of the Dixon Nightwing trades now, the big thick ones they've been putting out. So
I have about $40 worth in my basket.
I think I already spent about $70 worth, but yeah,
it's I'm not done yet.
Yeah, it's on until I can't remember the date. It's like the
January
2nd.
4th.
Was it the 4th? I think the Marvel one's like the 2nd of January, so they're all around then. They're all at the start of January. There's an IDW one. There should be an Image one going up at some point. It's not up yet, time of talking, but it usually do as well.
We haven't got a Dark Horse one yet either, have we?
Don't think so. But there's a Boom one, there's a Dynamite one. Like all the publishers usually put up a Christmas sale.
Yeah.
So by all means, go check it out. Get some good deals. Treat yourself to some comics for Christmas. Anyway, Matt looks so bored. I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry you look so bored. Do you want to talk about comics?
Yeah, well, it's also mostly because I'm staring at the small window, so I can't. I'm afraid to touch any other buttons.
Okay, well, with that said, let's start talking about
computers are like a T-Rex, right? If you don't move, they can't see you, right?
Episode 3 of Black Mirror Season 3 tells me otherwise. Just right. Put some tape over your camera if it's built in.
But not now because you're on the camera.
Oh, obviously, yeah, not now. Not now.
Put my thumb up there to make a joke and then thought, that spoiled the camera. Oh, man. Impulse Control. It's great right now.
Oh dear. Okay, so let's talk about comics. So we'll start off the week with the event. Dark Knight's Metal #4, Scott Snyder writing.
Yeah.
Greg Capullo on art. It's been a couple of months. Obviously, we had the one shot last month, Batman Lost. Honestly, my first thought with this is that this felt weird coming back to this, because for the first 3 issues, it felt like there was metal stuff coming out every week, and it was always on my mind. It was always kind of had this momentum. And then coming to this, I was like, oh aye, metal's a thing again. and I opened it and I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is where we were. But I have to admit that a little bit of the momentum is, it's maybe not as there as it was before.
Yes, I think that's a bit of a symptom of just the way they staggered all the tie-ins and where they were in the story.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, if you're just reading the main book, you've only had 1 month that's felt longer than all the others. But obviously we were reading everything, so we had, like I say, we had stuff every week. Which
I do have to say, I think I said this at the time, but that Justice League crossover feels really inconsequential because they're just back onto the mission they're on.
I wish it didn't exist.
Yeah, because they're just doing exactly what they were doing at the start of said crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least the Gotham Resistance one, it may have been a small thing, but at least they did discover something important in that miniseries.
By the time the next issue came around, it assumed that you had that knowledge from that. Even if you hadn't read it, it assumed that, okay, you just know this is established. Whereas this is built to just ignore that Justice League crossover, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I do have to be somewhat negative here, actually, because I do think this is the weakest issue of the main series so far. I don't know... what I have no idea if you guys agree with that or yet, because I've not spoke to Connor since he's read it. I've not heard Matt's thoughts on it.
I don't think it's the weakest. I think it's on par, but it doesn't have the high highs. The ending's pretty cool. Like, that was a cool reveal. Like, turn to the page and you're like, oh crap. But I really want to know why Plastic Man's an egg. Like, just tell me. This is the thing that's been going on since...
Well, there's something inside him, right?
Yeah, he's protecting something.
Yeah, but like the fact that they're bringing him to Thanagar, which is the Hawk planet, and then even Hal Jordan makes that joke that I'll just tell him I laid this egg, and that'll earn their respect. I'm just like, what is in there? And it's not gonna be nearly as cool as what I'm building it up to be.
It's a Legion ring, Matt.
God, don't do that to me. Oh man.
That's reserved for Doomsday Clock, and we all know it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I love parts of this issue. There are some things in here I really love, but I think it's the most scattershot issue as well. Like, there's a few too many scenes.
I agree with that. I feel like my biggest problem with this issue is I feel like so much of it is a lot of like really wacky exposition explaining the history of a lot of things. Sandman's there and he's talking about this forge and Barbatos, and I'm just like, all right, you're monologuing with a lot of speech bubbles here.
See, the thing is,
I love that though.
That's the stuff I really enjoyed. It was all the other stuff, catching up with the individual teams. I feel like I didn't need all of the teams. Maybe just do 1 or 2, and just have longer bits with them instead. Whereas that stuff, with Dream, like you're saying, like I was like, oh, okay, no, this is the stuff I want from Metal.
Well, the fact where you turn to that page and you see the constellations, and there's a monitor and the anti-monitor, and then the World Forge blacksmith, and then that dragon.
It's so good.
Like Capullo, just I like when he gets super detailed, but I also like when he does big, broad things like that.
Yeah,
so the fact here I have this alien atmosphere there, in the landscape, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I loved the very first page as well. So it's the recap essentially.
Yeah,
but it was done as it's a story in a book, one of Dream's books. But it's all these childlike drawings almost.
Yeah, I almost wish like that was the thing from the start, where this was Dream telling the story. So then when he shows up to Batman, was that the end of the first issue? Like,
yes.
It wouldn't have felt weird.
It wouldn't have felt so jarring, and it would have felt like the narrator is feeling like now he has to get involved.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere at the time. Yeah.
Yes.
I think. I'm kind of frustrated with this issue because I do think a lot of this exposition, because sometimes Snyder's accused of being having too much to say, too much dialogue, and I do think sometimes he falls into that, and I feel like here he does. I feel like, and this is the thing I hate most about Snyder when I don't like him, is he brings out all these really big like concepts, these big ideas, but he speeds through them so much that none of them have time for me to really get attached to them and really accept them as kind of something that like the very idea that Batman and Superman are both really old and it feels that they've been there for decades on this machine. It's like, okay, so I guess they're just old now, but I don't really feel like I've got the weight of them actually having that experience. You know, it just kind of feels like, oh, it just is, because that's what he wants to do in the story.
We kind of saw that though over the last couple issues of when Batman was plugged into the battery and then Superman, and Superman wasn't plugged in nearly as long. So he has a little bit of gray. But Superman's an older man.
I also like if it makes us feel like we're kind of with the League and everyone else, where we're still passing at normal time, and then we kind of come into them and go, oh, you're old now, and so they don't see that journey, and we don't really we get little glimpses, like Matt said, but not enough.
Can we talk about Superman's nightmares and if that's part of the bigger plan of Barbatos? Like, so is there versions for each of the League? Like, does he have Dark Knights for the Flash and Wonder Woman? Because I like that concept, and that's one I can see like Pete saying, like he introduces this thing, like we get Superman's nightmares, and there's basically Superman in a Lex Luthor suit, and then Superman dressed as like Dark Knight Returns Batman, and then of course the one that killed me was Electric Blue Superman.
Yeah, of course,
from the 90s.
I love how there's nothing different about him. He's just Electric Blue Superman.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, that was terrifying. I never want to go back to
that. Yeah. But he introduces these, and they're just like, yeah, we're Superman's nightmare, and now that he's plugged in, there's nothing you guys can do because he's the ultimate battery. And I was just like, well, wait, why are they there? Like, where'd they come from? And it would have been nice to see something from Snyder and Capullo, like, with Barbatos plucking, some heroes or villains, whatever you want to call them, out from this dark multiverse. So it's not just Batman's nightmares.
I think
it's everyone's.
For me, sometimes I feel like it's almost cold, like he misses the emotion from what the scene could be, and I feel like it glosses over what would like really like make it land for me is like the actual weight of, because there's a really sort of sweet scene where Superman kind of gives Bruce a pep talk about Batman being hopeful, and he makes him think, think of something to fight for, and he thinks of Damien and his kids. He says, he refers to him as his children, thinking of the Robins and and Batgirl and whoever else, and I'm like, oh, that's a really sweet idea. I almost like feel like take this this issue's maybe should have been more focused as a existential crisis for him.
I think this is where what you want and what Snyder wants to do with metal are just different. Like you're saying, you want these emotional beats, whereas I think Snyder is kind of really playing into metal as an idea, as a concept, and just having fun and being insane ideas. Like you say, there are a lot of insane ideas.
But then, I mean, that tender moment though, because they can only get to the World Forge if they feel the hope and wonder, because Barbatos has corrupted it, right? So a little that whole story about the dragon, where Barbatos was the dragon and took over, so everything's been corrupted. And
they explained that Barbatos was actually meant to be there. He was meant to be killing the Dark Worlds, and then he sort of went rogue and decided not to.
He killed the forger, the blacksmith, and he's taken it over, and that's why these Dark Worlds have been able to stay around. And so because of that corruption that surrounds this forge, to get through the dark multiverse, you have to keep hope and wonder in your heart. You have to stay pure. And so for Batman, who can be, construed as a super dark character, right? He's from tragedy. He hides in the shadows. But there is a whole lot of hope to him, and Superman reminds him that.
Yeah, that's his whole thing, isn't it? He doesn't remember.
Yeah, a really tender moment, and otherwise like, hey, this is cool, big, huge story. When I say big and huge, not like monumental, but like it's broad.
Scope, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say like I'm super down on it, because there are things I like in here. I'm still positive on the event as a whole. This is the issue though where I feel like this is kind of what I was starting to really not like about his Batman towards the end of his run.
Okay. I definitely have some problems, like I said, scattershot, like the Hal side of things with Starro just there. I'm like, okay.
The Starro thing, that made me mad. I thought, I got a chuckle out of the editor's notes.
Yeah, the editor's note was the best part, because it was like, Starro regrew himself from like a cut off something or other.
From one of his tentacles, which fun fact, Starfish can do. If you cut off, as long as there's a piece of the center, they'll regrow a whole other starfish. So
I think I knew that actually. Now you're bringing it up, I think I knew that.
It's those little things that I love that Snyder does in his research. Like, so if you know it, it's cool. If not, it's just another story plot.
And the editor's note was funny because it was like, whoever the editor is, I can't remember, but it says, this happened, actually, when did this happen, Scott and Greg? Yeah. And then there was a second one, it's just saying Scott and Greg with the little devil horns. That was all it was. Okay, that was amusing. But it almost actually points out what's not right about it.
No, it feels like this scene was there for that joke.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. It really does.
Well, and just the voice of Starro, too. Starro's like this dude. Like, the way that he talks. Losers. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, this is funny, and it's not a Starro I've ever seen, but there's really no other reason for him to be there except to take out Hal.
Why does Starro suddenly have the attitude that Jessica's ring does? How did that happen?
No, like I said, this is one of my problems with the issue. Like I said, there's just things in here that are just introduced. Like I don't mind a lot of the big ideas, but there's just too many in this specific issue.
Honestly, I think all of the Justice Leaguer stuff should be taken out except Wonder Woman with Kendra, because Kendra's actually goes somewhere. That actually leads to something.
It is, but even that just pulls out, okay, we got the Astral Brain.
It just pulls it out of nowhere.
Where did that come from?
There's just a lot of pulling of things out of nowhere in this issue. They
set up the Astral Brain in the first issue with the League of Immortals. They have the brain.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, they mentioned it, but
and you can't have matter and antimatter. So this was their failsafe. Was, well, if we can't stop the Dark Multiverse, we'll just destroy it with an antimatter bomb. Basically. Yeah, so that was cool.
But I think if you boil it down to just the Batman Superman thing and what they're doing, and then just the Kendra with Wonder Woman stuff, and give them both more time to develop to what they're getting to, I feel like it could have had more beats in each story that actually built up and paid off.
I liked the first Hal scene when he's arriving, that was funny, that was good. But the Starro bit felt like, okay, this needed a bit more time. Like next issue, kind of do something with that instead.
Also, we're at a point now where we're using John's creations like Johns would have used them. So, like, Onimar Sin, I can't remember the last time I've seen this character. So when he popped up, I was like, oh, that's cool. This goes all the way back to John's JSA, like, from the beginning with the Hawkman stuff. So it's a Jeff Johns retcon and not a Jeff Johns book. So the fact, like, this is a thing just blows my mind.
I will say I did like the one page that we got of Aquaman and Deathstroke. I like that. I mean, it actually felt quite focused in what it was doing. So it was maybe okay. There was only one page, but I think I'd rather have that one page here and then have some time with them next issue. And I feel like that's what we could have done with Hal as well. Like have that first page or so of them getting there, and then have anything with Starro that they were gonna do that next issue and kind of do it a bit more time with it.
So Kendra turns into Lady Blackhawk, this demented hawk girl.
The darkness is one. Yeah.
All roads lead to darkness, as we've been hearing.
Also, freaking Black Adam.
Black Adam shows up, because
they're on the Rock of Eternity.
Because Fate's about to, take care of things. Fate's like, okay, I'm going to fix this, and then Black Adam shows up. And apparently, the League of Immortals have made a deal with Barbatos. They're like, oh, but you know what? Yeah, we'll just make a deal with them so we can hang around and be in his world. It's fine.
I did think Adam looked a little young.
He does look young.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah. But he also it was him and Vandal Savage, that made the deal. But we know that Roz was there, so I'm wondering, if that's going to come into play. That you don't introduce Ra's al Ghul and then not give him nothing to do, especially he's a Batman writer like Snyder. So, but yeah, I got super excited over Black Adam. Like I was like, okay, cool. This is between this and the Rock of Eternity. Billy's out there somewhere, And
well, we know he's out. He was in a book like at the start of Rebirth.
What book was he in at the start of Rebirth?
He was in issue 1 of Constantine. Or Hellblazer, whatever it's called. He showed up in that book with Wonder Woman.
He did.
Well, he hasn't been there since. Like.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not a mystery. They're just not doing anything with him.
Yeah, well, this just completely ruins my idea of who's in that body bag.
Sorry,
Batman
Matt, but you're
who
working on
acts.
false information here.
Yeah.
To be fair, they could retcon it. There's
Yeah.
only one issue.
Oh, they could retcon it. Sure, DC retcon things all the time, but just
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I just thought that with all this talk of hope and wonder, like who has more hope and wonder than a kid?
I mean,
And then if you,
it does make me think that maybe Shazam will show up because Black Adam's now in the fray. Like, it would make sense to like combat him with Shazam. It would make sense.
It would.
Or Captain Marvel, sorry. I know there's a lot of purists out there who are like, say Captain Marvel, damn it.
Yeah, but if they're gonna call him Shazam, I'm gonna call him Shazam. If that's what it is going forward.
Yeah, Marvel
I mean,
was...
Shazam's also the wizard, so that's always a thing. But then you can just call the wizard the wizard.
Yeah.
He
You know,
doesn't have
Marvel
that
got
many.
the trademark. We just have to live with it. It's fine. I mean, DC should have been quicker on it, but still.
They should have, considering he's been around since the 40s. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what I
that's
mean?
on them.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but-
so in the
but I
Forge at the end
Yeah.
of the book, we get big, evil, demented Hawkman monster.
Looks incredible. The scope, the size is
Yeah.
unreal.
Oh, yeah,
you
he's like
see Batman and Superman at the bottom, and they're tiny.
Yeah, he's like a kaiju, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a giant hammer. I'm sure that pleased Matt.
Yeah. So, is he the blacksmith, or is he the dragon? Because he says he's the dragon of
Barbatos.
the Dark Multiverse, right? Of Barbados.
Yeah,
So-
but he has the hammer like he's the blacksmith.
Well,
Right, so are they one and
imagine.
the same now.
Well, no, I imagine he's replaced the because he can't have always been the blacksmith, right?
No, of course
No.
not.
Yeah,
But that's
Well,
my
but
point.
that was the
Barbatos.
that was the point.
I know, but I'm just
Marvel
clarifying that
dragon.
he's not always been the blacksmith. He's became the blacksmith.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But so if he's the dragon, then why has he got the big old hammer? Is he been, is he both? Because of the Dark Multiverse, he's not allowing them to be destroyed, but he's creating all of these Dark Multiverses on Barbados's command. You know what I mean? Like, and this isn't a story plot. This is just where my brain went to.
No, I'm with you. You're saying because Barbatos
Yeah.
was the dragon,
Yeah.
but Hawkman is here saying he's the dragon, but he looks like he should be the blacksmith because of his appearance with the hammer. So which is he? Yeah, no, I'm with you. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
so it's just a story point. I mean, it's not a big deal. Didn't take me out, but yeah, like you said, the scope of it and just like, well, now we know what Hawkman Found is going to be all
Yeah,
about.
it makes sense that that's the next issue. I think that's next
Yeah.
week, right?
Yeah, that's next
Yep.
week, I think. Yeah, it was maybe this week, but this was when this issue was maybe last week. So obviously,
Yeah. So everything got knocked back in
Yeah.
like that makes sense.
yeah. So that was an okay issue. I didn't love it. It definitely didn't hype me as a lot of the same way as the first 2 or 3 did.
I definitely had a couple of problems with a few of the scenes, but overall I came out of it pumped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think honestly, and this is unfair to it and unfair to Metal, but like post Doomsday Clock #1, it's like, well, this is the lesser one. Doomsday Clock's exciting me way more than that.
But
is.
again, I never felt this was supposed to change continuity the way that Doomsday Clock is.
Oh sure, but it doesn't have to change
You know what I
continuity
mean?
to be a big event. Like
No, but I mean, this is always promised that it's going to just be a fun romp, and
Yeah.
it's living up to that. It
Well, it
really
makes
is.
sense why it's not a Crisis either now. You know what I mean? Because Crisis usually have that twinge of importance, and this
Yeah.
feels like Connor said, it's a fun romp.
no, so no, weakest issue for me so far. But obviously, we vary. Connor probably liking it the most. Matt a little bit less, and then me. A good
So
bit
what
down the
kind of
ladder.
metal was this one, Connor? We've done this with each of.
Oh God! What kind of metal was this? This is.
Yeah,
Erratic and Scattershot. What metal's that?
yeah.
I feel like this was power metal. This was just right. Let's just
metal.
get through this quick. Let's just
There you
throw
go.
in as many things as we can.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
chugs along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll move on to the Superman #37, which is
Oh man.
the start of this. Is it 5-part crossover between
Yep, 5 parts.
Superman, Super Sons, and Teen Titans? So
But
Superman.
between getting parts 1 and 2 this week, this is gonna be over quick. Like I didn't realize that until I looked at the
But
issues that are coming out.
Superman 37 is by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. Of course, Jorge Jimenez does the art. I actually think we can tackle these two separately because I think they break down really nicely into two things.
Yeah.
So Superman's issue is basically 2 scenes. And it did crack me up that the best issue of Superman in like 6 months is half a Batman issue.
Yeah.
It's sad, but you're right. This is easily the best issue.
Oh,
of
it is.
Superman
This is
in
easily
a
the
long
best
time.
issue of Superman since Reborn.
I feel now that when Tomasi can just play with more characters, he's more motivated to tell a story, versus when he's just focused on the Kent family. Yeah, some of those were pretty cool, but like the early Superman stuff really hinged on Hamilton County.
I do wonder if he kind of ran out of ideas for the family, and ultimately here going, okay, I can do something else, injects it with a bit of life for him. Whereas when we go back to the family after, maybe there's something to be a little concerned about. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. But I mean, the last true family thing he did was that road trip, and I don't want to go back to that.
That was rough as balls.
I don't want to go back to that. So basically, that issue comprises of two scenes. The first being Batman, the second being Superman. And in both scenes, Tim Drake of the future, who obviously we just had in Detective Comics for an arc, shows up and is there to incapacitate both, because he... and the big thing that they find out at the end... I mean, we knew this going into the story, just kind of from solicits and whatnot, but he's there to take out Superboy, because Superboy is ultimately going to cause the end of the world, or...
some kind of destruction.
Yeah.
That's him.
So
I just want to say that despite being my favorite Robin, I really hate Tim as Batman. He is just.
I love that I hate him though.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying like he doesn't have the type of heat where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to read him. It's just like, what went so wrong now that you're coming from the future to kill people in the past? Like
he's like you say how Tim was the best Robin. I agree. He's the best taken to the worst. That's what this is, and it makes it really enjoyable to read, even if he's not likable.
Yeah.
Art's very good in this issue, because I mean most of it's fighting, so it kind of has to be. But luckily the layouts, especially the Bruce Tim fight specifically, I thought was especially great.
The Bruce Tim fight.
Yeah, it was very good. But there's obviously a lot of angular panels. There's a lot of motion throughout the whole thing, and you really feel like it's Bruce fighting someone he trained. And there's this sort of match going on, which of course the balance is upset when Tim eventually wins by pulling out a gun and shooting him.
Yeah. And also Tim coming through the window, that classic through the window bat image is just fantastic.
Yeah,
well, I love that he's sitting. You don't get to see Bruce in street clothes that often, so the fact like he's in his like lounge around the manor clothes too, I thought that was a fun.
Yeah,
fun
not the trackies that Priest had him in at the end of the last Justice League issue.
Exactly, just like a sweater and some I guess khakis.
Yeah, I think the benefit of having the first two issues of this out in the same day is that I think they did this issue knowing that all the plot can really get going in the next one, because this one is mostly just these fights. But I'm actually completely okay with it, because it gives them both this weight where he's good enough to take down Batman and Superman. He outthinks them.
Yeah, we kind of just got that in the detective arc of just showing just how well prepared this Tim is. But this is going, no, he's not just prepared for the Bat family. He can take on Superman as well. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he traps him in a red red sun. Sorry, not red kryptonite. It's red kryptonite.
It is red kryptonite.
No, it's red kryptonite, but I feel like it should have just been a red sun, like force field thing, versus red kryptonite.
I think that's why I slipped there and thought I'd made a mistake and tried to cover my tracks. It makes
more sense to be red sun.
It does, but hey, so that's the whole thing. But no, the art's very, 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 very pretty throughout in both scenes, and I like the contrast as well, because the first half it's all in the manor, it's all sort of dark, candlelight, all that kind of thing. Second half it's all in the Arctic, it's all very white. Superman's just about to start rebuilding his fortress because it's still wrecked from various events that have happened. So that's the whole thing. It's a really straightforward issue. That's why I think it's easy to take them as two parts, because they're very distinct in that sense.
When Superman's monologuing, I was just like, this is kind of weird. Like, is he just talking out loud and then he's talking to Keelix? So I thought that was cool. And he's rebuilding the statues of Ma and Pa, which I feel like that's foreshadowing. With stuff that's going on.
A little symbolic thing that the parents. At least the history of them's coming back, even if they're not going to both be alive.
Yeah.
That makes some sense.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, and then the fight between Tim and Superman, and Tim gets into the battle armor, and he's like, how? And he's like, well, my Superman taught me Kryptonian. And
because I love that. I was like, of course Tim was learned Kryptonian. That doesn't surprise me, of course.
No.
That sounds like something he did.
who his best friend was, and then he drops that. Oh man, I fist bumped. I was at work. I almost dropped my comic, like as I'm reading.
Dear. So I guess we'll just transition smoothly into Super Sons number 11. Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason again writing. This time Ryan Benjamin on the art. And the art is obviously more mixed. It's not as good as Jiimenez by any stretch. I think that's
I like
actually
it a lot though.
it's solid.
It's
It's solid
yeah.
a lot of the time. There's a couple of key pages that bother me a lot. One's right at the start. Tim's face.
Is it his lips?
Yeah. What the hell is going on
Really
with his
weird,
lips?
isn't it?
And then the other one that really
There's
bothers
no
me.
upper lip.
And then the other
That's
one.
what it is.
The other one that really bothers me, though, maybe even more than this. This one's bad 'cause it's right at the start, so it's this bad first impression. So I was thinking, oh, the art must, this one sucks. And then when it got to the Teen Titans stuff, oh, this looks quite good. It's fine. There's a page later on where it's like Superboy's in the middle of the page, and there's all these things behind him, and he looks like he's got E.T.'s neck. I don't know what's going on. He's got this super long neck.
I just got there. And sit in the moment. Yeah.
What is happening to his neck?
Phone home.
It's supposed to be because he's craning his neck sideways, by like the way he stood. But it's a bit overdone, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's when it's good, it's a more cartoony style, but that actually fits the younger heroes because it fits the Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And they're over the
I
top
thought
expressions.
this was a Super Sons issue because I thought it was Teen Titans, just with the way that it was.
Which again, this is something that we have to give credit for, where they don't feel like individual issues of their own books. They feel like, no, this is just this is just part of the story. It's something that we've had with crossovers lately, where it's managed to avoid that trap.
Yeah,
so it's nice to see it continuing.
It does. And so basically what we get here is that the Teen Titans are out on a mission, and Superboy was supposed to be in bed. You know, Kathy's calling Lois, like, hey, can I talk to John? I'm liking that we've not forgotten about her, by the way, because I like Kathy a lot.
It's the first time we've seen her in a long time, right?
Yeah. But he's actually, you know, because Tim shows up to get him, and he's not actually, he's snuck out. So he tranks Lois, and he goes off to find him. And where he is, he's actually basically pissed that Damien's not let him go on a mission with the Teen Titans yet, when he promised he would. So he swoops in and saves their ass when they're in the middle of a fight. And they're like, wait a minute, if Kid Flash didn't stop that guy, and you didn't stop that one, who's that? And then Damien's just like, hey, Starfire, do me a favour. Catch Superboy. And he just fires like a flashbang into the air. And you just see Superboy fly, come falling out of the sky. So it's a really good little Damien moment. But they're pissed at him, and they're at the Titans Tower complaining about it. And when Tim comes on the screen, and he's like, okay, right, I've got control of all your systems, all the security, you're locked in. You know, Raven channel through, you know, look at my mind, like, broadcast this out to everyone. Show them, show them what I'm thinking and what he's done in the future. And we get this, you know, this horrible future where Superboy basically it's basically the like a more extreme version of the whole supernova thing.
Yeah.
The solar flare. But it seems like it's going to actually hurt a lot of people. And he's like, oh, I have to kill him. I mean, it's basically a Terminator story. Like, he's the Terminator coming back to take out the threat against humanity. And that's right. And I was just going to say, and so basically he starts to go supernova, and Damien's like, you know, fly up right now, get as far away as possible, and he does. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that's going to get Matt excited, because this explosion from Superboy knocks out whatever's cloaking Tim for anyone who's looking for him, and we see who's looking for him from this alternate future of some kind, and we hear names mentioned. We hear the name Bart. We hear the name Cassie and some other guy, and they're watching.
Some other guy.
All right, Harvey. Where's my button? Where's my button for him?
Hit the button.
There. So,
he's no longer imaginary. He's real.
It's an alternate future. It doesn't count.
Yeah.
It doesn't count. It doesn't matter, because now they can write stories about this group on before Tim broke bad, and I'm fine. I don't care. They're there. These three. A couple months ago, I changed my Twitter the header image to these guys, and it was Tim and Cassie, Bart, and Connor, and they were my lost generation, right? Well, they're lost, they're found, and oh man, so excited.
I'm sure you are. I got to that last page and I'm like, oh, Matt, I can almost feel Matt just sort of like rubbing the comic against his chest and being like, oh yes.
What, do you have a camera on me?
There may be surveillance.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing an older Bart, because the suit it just makes him look like Reverse Flash.
Yeah, he's just got an all yellow suit. Yeah, it just looks like Reverse Flash. Yeah. But they don't seem to be
with the white logo.
Yeah.
Though,
yeah.
They don't seem to be agreeing with this plan though, because they're looking for Tim. They're like, oh, he's been hiding from us. So So we should maybe get some interesting stuff here with this older Teen Titans of this specific generation who've been kind of forgotten.
Yeah, and I like
hinted at it in Lonely Place of Living, whereas he talked about his Superman, and and you got to talk with Connor, and then our Tim was like, who, and so things were afoot that.
What is interesting though is that this future has both this Teen Titans, but also John Superman and Damian Batman.
Yeah, it's what DC's always done that I love the most is the sense of legacy. Is you could have the Titans and the Teen Titans, and now you can have basically this Young Justice era Titans in this new group of Teen Titans.
I just think it's interesting. I think it almost feels like it's going to be this fight between two different versions of Teen Titans, this generational thing. And we know one of them are actually, in all essence, have been forgotten by DC Comics, at least until now. So I'm curious to see how they resolve this. I'm curious to see if this is a tease for them actually showing up later, or is this just how we're going to get these characters going forward, where almost kind of like how for a long time the JSA were Earth 2. It would just have this group of Teen Titans are essentially from this other alternate future, and that's just how we have them now.
It could be worse.
That's very DC. Like I can't fault.
Yeah. I don't care. The fact that they're there and they've been spoken. I got Booster Gold last week, and now I get Connor Kent this week.
Yeah.
I am being spoiled. And then
this is too much.
Legion probably next week.
Too much happy for Matt right now. Honestly, I'm not happy with this. There's too much of it.
I do like how Tim's the link between both teams. How the other members of the Teen Titans are kind of going, hey, why don't we know about this? Tim was with us as well. We should know about this.
Yeah, they're pissed at Damien for not bringing up the whole future
and
Tim.
Then Beast Boy tries to scare him by being a bat, which is amazing.
That scared me. Yeah, so... but I love this Titans team. I always find that you can find things that make them work, and this feels like John's Titans team because you have the older, you have Raven and Starfire there, as the bridges, and then the younger, the new heroes with Kid Flash with Wally too.
What's funny about it is that it points out some of the weird inconsistencies with the decision making, where when they went to make new Teen Titans, in the 2000s, they wanted to keep, they kept Beast Boy and they kept Cyborg, but they gave us the new Kid Flash and the new, other characters, Cassie and Superboy. So they kept some of them, but it's like, but the other teammates that were with them before have gotten older and their own adult heroes now. So there's this weird thing where they're still with the kids, and it's one of these things where it gets murky timeline wise, and you have to start retconning things to make it all fit.
Yeah. Well, and then now you've made Cyborg, a founding member of the Justice League.
Yeah, so he's just off the table as far as Teen Titans goes.
But then they played around with that in that was it the Justice League issue.
The metal one, right? The
metal tie-ins,
which is the most excited we have been for Cyborg ever.
Yeah,
since we started the show.
Easily the best thing out of that crossover.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So it's adjusting these, and and I love it. And I know to the outsider, this is all meaningless talk. If you have no connections to this era or any of the eras of the Teen Titans, then but I feel in a world where Young Justice was this, it became a TV show with all of these characters, and it was just like a descriptor of all the young heroes. You had all the Robins on there at one point.
Sorry?
Was that Connor?
Pete give a look like it was like, is it? It gets there.
Alright, I was going to say, because I've only watched the first 2 episodes, and it's mostly not these characters.
Oh, gotcha.
But, it's mostly season 2 where it gets to that stuff.
Because there's a time jump in there.
Alright, okay. I was going to say, that was Dick, Wally, and so and co.
Yeah.
Because we just started that on the television from the Multiverse last week, and I can see Peter going, "Hang on, that's not what I just watched."
Yeah, there was no Tim and Cass and all that shenanigans. Definitely.
And that show alone made me love Miss Martian. Like I wish they could bring back Miss Martian in that the Megan Morris version here. So
more on potential Martian sightings later. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
That's all I'm saying.
But I got to that last page, and it's Connor saying together, and like Tim's been broken. I feel like I want this Tim also to become like if they ever do a booster book, you make Tim the villain, and you do that Terminator thing where Booster's almost Kyle Reese
through time. Yeah.
Yeah. Being like, well, no, he's messing things up, and now I have to clean them up. Like, but he's the smartest hero. So how does that go with Booster, who's got. I mean, yeah, he's got Rip Hunter and he's got Skeets, but he's still kind of a buffoon, and that's why I love him. Going up against Tim Drake at his worst, so.
Okay, I'm only going to
want
agree
that
to this pitch. I'm only going to approve this. Let's just pretend I'm the head of DC right now and I'm making the calls here.
Yeah.
I'm only agreeing to that pitch if Lombard is a recurring guest star or like one of the supporting
You make
cast.
that like it's going to break the deal. He needs to be like, he's Booster's point man in this, like.
He's getting the front cover.
He's the anchor.
He becomes the guy in the chair talking to him. He's the help in modern day.
No,
Earth.
he's the Jimmy Olsen.
Sure, whatever. The point is, he's always there helping. He's always there fawning over
The
it.
fact that
He's fanboying.
so Booster brings him in, right? Just so he's like, I heard you're a big fan, and then he gets the call. He takes him back to the Time Masters thing, right?
Yeah.
And he accidentally knocks out Rip Hunter, and for at least this of that arc, Lombard's like trying to run the chair, and yeah, I'm on it. Get on it, DC. I will do it. Like,
just send us an artist and we'll get it done.
Yeah, none of us can draw. That's the only fault. That's the only problem with this. But yeah, so that's Super Suds. Super fun. Brings up a lot of really fun ideas. I almost feel like there's obviously there's some depth with that. We talked about how there's two generations of Titans coming together and maybe fighting and stuff. But beyond that, it's just a fun ride. Like I don't have a whole lot of like deep sort of analysis to really give it beyond that.
And I have to say, as much as we were saying how we kind of hate this version of Tim because of what he is, I love reading him. I love love him being a villain now. I kind of want this to be a recurring thing.
I think it's. I mean, obviously we said this at the start of the Superman discussion, but man, how Tomasi's been killing it on Super Sons. He seems to be killing it with this crossover so far, and yet Superman's been so rough for so long.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But hey, it's nice to be looking forward to Teen Titans next week. Which I mean, I look forward to Teen Titans anyway, but I'm specifically looking forward to it with this crossover and story in mind.
Yeah.
So, that'll take us on. We're not. I mean, we're just getting started here with the good stuff because we're getting to some real meat here. Batman number 37, Tom King writing, Clay Mann on art. The double date that we were promised last issue, which is at a fairground, and it's a superhero themed night, and they're told they're not allowed in. And they get this idea, the Lois specifics, like, hey, you've got your costumes, you could just, switch them. And I never thought I wanted an issue where Batman was dressed as Superman and Superman was dressed as Batman. But, and Lois dressed as Catwoman as well, might I add. Gold.
Lois as Catwoman, I had some split thoughts on that.
Split thoughts?
So,
you went all for it? You have some issues?
Yeah, well, it's like, it's Lois Lane, she's my favorite comic lady.
Uh-huh.
Catwoman's fine, but then you dress her up as Catwoman, you go, okay, I get it now. so
What you're saying is you like Lois dressed in the cat suit more than you like Selina dressed in the cat suit.
Yes, that's it. Okay. Probably because I'm more tied to Lois as more, but probably my favorite thing in the issue, and there's no spoiler, I'm not jumping ahead though, is that Clark is still, even though he doesn't need to because he's in full disguise.
Yeah.
He still insists on wearing his glasses over the cowl.
Also, Matt, we always talk about spoilers in the books anyway, so I don't know why you specified no spoilers there.
Well, because I know because you like to get on me if it seems like I'm jumping forward ahead from where you want to go. But
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that he wears the glasses the entire time in the bat suit, I love.
Oh no,
it kills me.
I always say this. I want more of this. This is the sort of thing where Hitch's Justice League was like a big problem, right? Where give me the downtime between the big events. Give me mini arcs between the big arcs where it's just things like this, where it's just them doing life things, and this is just a double date, and there's some character analysis. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of fun. I think the more sort of interesting stuff from an analysis point of view probably comes from Lois and Selina and them talking about why they like the men they do. And as I saw, everyone always says, "Oh, he's so Kansas. How could you like him?" And they kind of go back and forth and how he's still so Kansas and he's still so broody. Like there's all that sort of comparison stuff there. And but you got your funny little moments. You got Bruce, the S, it stands for hope. The bat stands for bat.
I love it.
Things like that.
And I like that, Selina's onto that later. He's I told him yesterday, did he tell you the bat stands for bat? like he knows what to expect.
And I just love the Batman's refrain of no. Like, we're going to go to a county fair. I'm going to be dressed as Superman, but we're not having fun. Just no.
That's basically what he's actually doing.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Dear.
Oh man. But
Yeah.
just the layouts with Clayman's art throughout this one too. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
I
wish we could
will
get
call
more
out
lists.
a major problem on his art on the ice cream eating scene.
Oh, go on.
Yeah.
It's just the repeated faces. Like that he has for each page, each character is on there twice eating an ice cream, and he used the exact same panel of art and
Yeah.
just different dialogue. But it really bothered me.
Alright. It didn't bother me, but it's a fair complaint.
It bothers me how Superman eats ice cream though, because you don't eat an ice cream cone like that.
He's a goddamn alien. He'll eat ice cream
Yeah,
how he
but
wants.
he's lived here his whole life. Like,
And
come
like,
on.
well, that's the thing. I think so. Do they change at all? No, that's it. Actually,
No.
they don't change at all over the 2 pages. It's the same images for 2 pages, and it just gets like really irritating. I mean,
It didn't bother me. Like that. I mean, yeah, I can see how it is, but for the point in the story that it's in, they're walking and talking. Like,
I know. It just I feel like that's the point where the art should be stepping up most, in my opinion, where it's just dialogue and there's nothing else going on. The art should be all right. Here's something visual to go with it. There should be some scene pacing with it. Whereas it's there in the layout. Don't get me wrong. The grids and the figures walking between the grids on the second page as well. That stuff's good, but it really hampers the flow when everyone seems completely still.
see, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't notice it until later, like going back through when I'm skimming it, because I was so invested in what the script was, so what the bubbles,
Yeah.
So I'm processing those first and then the art second. So then when I went for my skim before we recorded, I was like, oh yeah, those are the same faces.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a huge deal. I think it's a fair complaint. It's probably the biggest complaint you could probably give the book. Really?
Yeah.
Probably, but it's a shame that it was on those 2 pages where a lot of the conversational climax happens, and it really dragged me out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I like that by the end of the book, you feel like they've really done like a variety of events. They went through the love tunnel, and like, you see how differently they both treat that. Where you've got Clark and Lois dressed as Batman and Catwoman, just sort of holding each other, going, "Oh, that was nice." And then you've got Selina dressed as Lois on top of Bruce, dressed as Superman, just making out as they come out of the tunnel.
It's being married for 10 years versus
It's a
still
fresh relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, and granted, Selena and Bruce have been going round.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to dispute that way of looking at it, mainly because I feel like it's more of a character thing. I feel like this is just how Selena is. Selena's not that was lovely, Bruce.
Yeah, no, but maybe,
Give it 10
10
years.
years. You know what I mean? Like, and it could be because
even that
we know that Lois and Clark weren't like that at the beginning of their relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
but
like
even
because of the characters.
when they're leaving, and Clark's like, "Oh, that was nice," and he's like, "You think everything's nice?" And I think it's Lois actually says, "Nah, Bruce thinks things are nice too. He just doesn't admit it."
Yeah.
Because I thought it was Selena at first, because obviously it makes sense that she would chime in with what he thinks, but I like the idea that Lois kind of knows him enough to like, no, like, so do you. You just don't tell anyone.
It's her job to find out things. We learned that in the last issue.
Well, yeah, because that's the big thing. Is they're obviously we'll get to the batting here, but as they're doing that, they're talking about. He's like, it's just kind of weird. You got this war on crime, and you're dating a criminal. And she's like, well, hey pal, Lois is designed to find people and figure things out, and you're dating her, and you have the biggest secret on the planet. So yeah, it just points out. But of course, we have this thing all issue where they're debating like, Batman's like, I could hit one of your balls if you throw me.
I could hit one of them. I could hit it off of you. No, you couldn't.
Yeah.
I'd throw it so fast you wouldn't see it.
Yeah, John.
Now, let me just.
John can't even hit my pitch.
Yeah. So let me just tell you, as someone that spent some time at a I can't want to say a batting gallery, but it's not. It's a batting cage. It is deceptively fast, right?
Oh, sure.
So I don't care how peak physical Batman is. Superman's throwing a pitch, and he's going to put a little movement on it.
The consideration he puts in, it's like, well, I can't throw it too fast or the ball will fall apart. There's going to be just
which
right.
does not count as a strike, as Batman points out. If the ball disintegrates, it's not a strike.
I mean, he's probably right on that one.
If it's over the plate before it disintegrates, it's a strike.
I like how Matt's actually tearing apart the ending. He doesn't like that Batman can do it. That Batman can hit the ball.
That's not the point of that scene. The point of that scene is Superman didn't throw it as hard as he could. Right? They're doing
No, the point is he hit it because Batman.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been that.
I don't think so.
And
I'm the biggest hater because Batman.
No, I feel it has to be because I think if Superman didn't throw it at peak, Batman would be insulted.
Yeah.
He'd rather miss it than.
I'm saying that Superman threw one right over the plate, trying to get him to swing, and the timing was right. He wasn't trying to get him out. If he was trying to get him out, then he would have got him out.
Do you know what? This might be the most bullshit internet fanboy reasoning Matt has ever brought up in this show. This honestly might be the most, like, I'm going to take this weird turn here and try and explain it through the back channels.
Don't get me wrong. It is because Batman. But as far as because Batmaning goes, this is pretty innocent.
Oh, it is. It's innocent. It's just hitting a ball. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But
seriously, if
Matt's jumping through hoops to explain this here, I love it.
I'm not jumping through hoops. That's someone that watches baseball regularly. Okay.
It's hitting a ball. It's all
Superman has an out pitch. All right. He grew up in Kansas. He knows how to throw. He probably throws a 4-seam fastball. So if he really didn't want him to hit it, he wouldn't have hit it. But Superman probably threw something right over the plate.
So just to clarify your reason into a simple sentence, Batman only hit that ball because Superman wanted him to hit it. That's what you're saying.
Not wanted him to hit it. But see, again, you guys don't like baseball.
Not wanted. It let him hit it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he didn't let him hit it. He threw it over. The point of baseball isn't for the pitcher to let the hitter hit it. He just didn't throw him his out pitch. All right? He threw him a curveball when he should have thrown him a fastball, is what I'm saying. Of course the point's not to let him hit. They're on different teams. We understand this concept, Matt. Yeah. So, I'm not saying that Superman let him hit it. I'm just saying Superman's pitch selection wasn't that he was trying to make Batman miss, is all I'm saying.
Look, I don't think that the point of this wasn't to see if he could get it past him. It was, look, I'm going to throw it this fast, and I don't believe.
Yeah, it's all about the speed. It's not like he's saying, "Oh, you couldn't get it past my curve ball or my spin, whatever." Yeah. It wasn't about him. Oh, I've got some good pitches. It's not just I can throw it at such a speed that you just can't do it.
If that's the case, then I hate it. If it's because Batman, then I hate it. That's it.
It's because Batman, goddammit. And you know what? Yeah. The best thing about it is even Lois is jumping with her arms in the air, cheering for Batman.
Superman's going, what the hell just happened? He's like,
I need a Batman family, Superman family softball game now.
Oh yeah, I'd down for that.
I'd be down for that.
Damien and John just talking trash the whole time would be great.
Can we have future Tim show up?
No. He shows up like that streaker at one of the World Series games and is just like get him out of here, please.
Oh, God.
But I want Keenan in there too, though. You know? I want Keenan, like, not understanding it's supposed to be for fun, so he's taking it super seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And he's yelling at everybody.
Well, then you might as well have Booster Gold show up as well.
Well, who do you think's behind the plate as the ump? It's Booster. Because he's going to call it fair.
Okay, he's the umpire, right?
Yeah, because you can't have Alfred. Because you never know which Alfred you're going to get. If it's sassy Alfred, he's going to call stuff for Superman family, and if it's not, he's calling it for the Batman family.
He's going to be biased in one way or the other.
Alfred has enough integrity to respect the honor of the game and go, no, this is what happened.
Just to swing back around to Because Batman, I think this is the sort of Because Batman I like, because it's a silly, goofy little thing. It's kind of like how, like when Batman's out of a scene, even when Superman's there, and even Superman's like, huh? How did he do that? I'm Superman, god damn it. Like, that's funny to me. I like that Because Batman moment.
But I bet Matt hates it.
Because it's a nice little joke.
Fine. Yeah, as long as there's humor to it like there is here. Like, you know.
You just said you hated it.
I said it. I hated it as playing part of the character. It's fine. You know what I mean?
I actually want the phrase Because Batman to come up in the comics itself in continuity, just because I want Selina to take it and start saying Because Catwoman whenever she gets one up on Batman.
Yeah.
That would be delightful.
Cat.
Yeah. Because Cat.
Yeah. I also love probably my favorite two panels in this issue and like a lot of them were setting up for the pitch, and Superman says up and away, and Batman just responds vengeance is the night.
Which is a callback, of course, to last issue where they said it for each other.
Yeah, but just the fact of him saying that while getting in the batter's box, he's like, vengeance is the night. Like, he's him doing the shoulder roll, the warm-up swing. Just
that ball is crime. That
It
ball is
plays really-
crime, and this bat is justice. I'm doing this.
It plays really taunting in this issue, though. It's like, yeah, Avengers of the Night. Come on then.
I am
give
the
it
night,
your
goddammit.
best.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
This is this one context where him saying something goofy like "I am the night" would work because it's
Yeah.
for fun reasons. It's him poking fun at himself almost because he's doing the machismo thing with Superman. It's all in good fun. This is where that, because sometimes writers will actually put that in seriously, and it's like, no, I can't take it seriously now because we should be thinking this, he shouldn't be thinking it, but
Right.
in this context it works because it's two guys kind of like having a friendly rivalry. So
Yeah.
Such a great issue though.
Delightful.
King.
Delightful is the word I'd use. Alright, so let's move on to Justice League number 35. Christopher Priest writing, Pete Woods on art. This is the second part of his run. Of course, last issue had all sorts of things going on. We had dead nuns, we had tidal waves, and we
Dead
had...
Nun.
Oh, sorry, one
Nuns.
dead nun. Apologies, big difference. And we had intergalactic people who had gotten lost, and just caused a bit of a ruckus without meaning to. So this issue, we deal with the fallout of some of that, and then we have some kind of our own plot as well. And this issue has kind of convinced me that I am into Priest on this run. I'm into Priest doing Justice League. This is a sentence I never thought I'd say. But if I can get more scenes starting with someone in the toilet in the Watchtower, I am all for it. Because Jessica doing her business, but also reading a book and listening to Spanish music and singing it, was just like, okay, I love her. It's great.
That does lead into one of probably my biggest complaint of the book is that
go
you
on.
have like 2 full pages in Spanish, and I'm like,
Yeah, but I mean, you can get the gist of it just from.
yeah, but see, I don't, because I gloss over it because I don't know what they're saying, so I'm kind of going, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, well,
here.
I thought the joke was that we're speaking Spanish, so it's kind of it's meant to be funny almost that she's just yelling at him in Spanish and he's kind of yelling back at her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. See, I get it, but I just feel like I'm missing out.
If I could speak another language, I'd probably be yelling in it when I get scared off the toilet seat.
But no, I was fine with it, and that's someone I can read Spanish. I mean, I took enough of it in school that I can get by. But I mean, it's
Ay caramba.
all you need to know is what's on the page. Like, there's nothing. He doesn't explain who he is. He just says why he's there, and it ultimately doesn't matter because you find that out later.
Oh yeah.
No,
you know.
I get that. I'm essentially just looking at the art, and I'm not even. It's just a little bit too long. I don't mind it when they do this every so often. For a little bit, you get a bit in a different language, and it's like, okay, what was there? I feel it's just a bit too much of it in one go. Where I feel like there's like 2
Google
full
Translate.
pages of me just skimming through.
Okay, maybe one page would have been better than 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So his whole thing, is that he's actually a bounty hunter, and Batman and Wonder Woman were actually retrieving her sword. Batman was doing his whole disguise thing, pretending to be a cop, and this cop was like arguing with Wonder Woman. He's like, "Hey, this was your sword that was taken from you and murdered someone," and he's doing the whole thing. Like, it's like, okay, I feel like there's going to be repercussions from this, and obviously it comes up where Wonder Woman blames herself because it's her sword. She's starting to feel a bit of regret because it feels like she's always fighting and using her fist rather than doing what she wants to be doing and spreading compassion and all that kind of thing. And Batman's like, no, it's my fault, it was my plan. So you really get the follow. I kind of like that this issue for the most part. It's the Trinity are on the League kind of debating about what went wrong, and they're kind of like all worried that they're not doing their jobs properly. And it's actually the rest of the team that saved the day and like take care of the crisis, if you will. Plus Wally's there too. Yeah, Kid Flash in this one.
Wally's found some cockroaches.
Wally found some cockroaches, and Barry's coaching the high school team, the basketball team.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was fun.
That was a
Sorry,
fun-
I was using Google Translate to find out what they were saying, just to see if I was right.
That was a
And
lot.
basically I was
Yeah,
right.
that was a lot of translating. Then if you unless you skip
Have
to
you,
the
have you
end.
got one of the ones that you
I
just
got the app.
go
Yeah,
through
you
your
just
camera?
I just did the whole
yeah, you
page.
just go through
Cool.
the camera, line it up. Yeah, basically.
Man,
that's all.
technology's getting good.
Pretty good, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary though.
I like the new Google phone where you
You
just
just-
if it speaks into it in a different language, it translates it for you. And
Yeah, I've heard
puts
of
it out
this.
and
Yeah,
good.
We're at Star Trek level there. Universal.
they are.
Translator.
It's
Yeah.
like the only thing that would be better if it's just so live that it just covers their voice completely as they're talking. That is the only improvement then.
That's the next step. Yeah.
Oh man.
Anyway, so they have to hunt these bugs, which can kind of like have a hive mind, and we actually get some big monster action. And I think that's actually what impressed me about this book. It was giving me all these slice of life moments. It was giving me more of the drama between the big things, but it did also give me some fun big monster fighting in a city as well at the same time, and it didn't feel forced to me. I was actually kind of into it, and it brought up some of these interesting little beats. I really liked because the guy, the alien shapeshifts. Glenn, I think his name is. So it looks normal, and we'll talk about who he mentions. I'm not forgetting that. But there's a nice moment where Cyborg says, "Hey, you just sort of picked what you look like to blend in. Why did you pick a black man?" And he's like, "Never occurred to me why not to."
Why not to? Yeah.
I liked him asking that question. That was a really cool little touch. But yeah, so that who he mentions, of course, he shows up and he's like, "I'm looking for John," and Jessica's like, "John Stewart," which makes sense. That's the first John that she would.
Yeah, that's the one that she knows.
Yeah. And he's like, John Jones. I'm like, John Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just
so
a
I
moment
got
of
to that page,
realization.
and I let you guys know. I go, man, Justice League, Beast is doing something cool, and I half expected him to show up by the end, right? Like
this is a tease, right? He's showing up at some point. He has to.
Yeah. The return.
They're floating. If they're floating the name out there like this, he has to be popping up at some point.
Yeah.
Which is delightful.
And I like this new character too. I like Glenn. Glenn's a fun Justice League side character. Like, next time Starbro, that's his new name, Starbro, attacks.
Down.
I want Glenn to show up.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. No, I thought this was a pretty solid issue again. Possibly even a little bit better than the first one, actually. And I liked the first one quite a bit.
When I liked the beginning stuff with Wonder Woman, like the fact this man was killed with her sword.
Yeah.
I
like that there is, it doesn't just brush over these things, because I feel like that was a really big problem with Hitches.
Yeah.
Just there was like nothing mad.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously here there's another story going on, and it's doing this proper serialized thing where it's telling its sort of issue story, but this thing comes back at the end where the footage, like the body camera footage from one of the SWAT team, leaks like to the news, and this footage goes all over the world of this sword being used to kill a nun. And it ends with that poignant moment of them turning off the monitor. It's setting up kind of its themes, and I think I'm really excited about what he's going to explore. I feel like between the Wonder Woman scene and then of course just the overall thing of the public perception of the Justice League because of this, and then the little moment again with Cyborg and Glenn, I feel like Priest is actually going to explore things. It's not just going to be, oh, here's a big monster for them to fight and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Like, no, I feel like he's actually going to do things for the story.
It doesn't need to be the flagship, so he's going to do cool character stuff. Yeah. And that's what you should be doing when it's like this. I mean, I feel like Morrison kind of did that in some of his runs. Like, yeah, you had the big, huge things, but you also got the Kyle Rayner moments in there, Yeah. So...
And like I said, it doesn't skip on the humour either, because you have stuff like Jess in the toilet. You have stuff where Kid Flash is complaining that his first Justice League mission is hunting for cockroaches. He's like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Ultimately, it's just like, could have just told us it was a pink cockroach.
Yep.
Art's pretty solid for the most part. The one little weird moment is I think it's like a couple of pages after the Spanish stuff. Jessica, she's at the bottom. The Green Lantern symbol's just gone.
I noticed that.
Black circle. I'm hoping they fix that for the trade.
That was a weird. I wonder if we're trying to make some sort of lighting effect, but it's made of light, so it should always be there.
I feel like, because obviously this is all done digitally, a lot of the art now.
Yeah.
I assume it's a layering issue, honestly.
Maybe.
Because it's usually black for the background, then white, and then the green.
Yep.
I feel like they just put the black on the top accidentally.
Well, I went back and was like, did she have her circle there? Oh yeah, it was there in the earlier ones.
Yeah, for the rest of it.
Maybe it was just an art mistake.
No, like just that one time.
I never went back and checked the previous, but I never noticed it, and then it was definitely there to the rest of the book. So,
Yeah, no, it's there before as well.
No, that's fair. Like I said with the first issue, I think the art is solid. I like how consistent it feels. There's the odd kind of face that I feel doesn't fit his style. It's not even like he does it badly. It's just that the style doesn't necessarily fit certain expressions to sometimes.
Yeah, the one that stands out to me in this issue is when Kid Flash sees the cockroaches eat the dog, and he's kind of doing like a wrenching sort of motion, but it just looks a bit funny. Yeah,
but on the whole, though, it's a very solid book art-wise as well. So
yeah,
no, so I'm officially like I was already on board really, but like I'm now excited about Justice League. I'm excited about the next issue.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's very nice. It's nice to be excited about. So we'll move on. We'll move on to Green Lantern's number 37. Speaking of Simon and Jess, Tim Seeley writing, Carlo Barberi on art, and this is them getting a call from Elizabeth Vogt, of course, the alien hottie that that Simon's been having the feelings for since we had that first story from Seeley, and they're there because of the murder, and they're there because they've got a bit of a crisis. Some Hungarian teenagers have snuck into the Molite Slayer, and everyone thinks they've been kidnapped. When we actually get in there, though, we find out that the teenagers broke in to cause chaos. They ended up killing or stepping on like some of the eggs of the Molites.
Like an entire generation.
And apparently in the Molite race, the culture, it makes the mothers go into like a fit of rage. So they actually, because Simon and Jess get attacked at one point when they sneak into the sewers, and like you get all these angry Molites attacking them. So we've got all this thing, but we know it was actually someone who planted the evidence. We know it's someone else, and we get a bit more of that towards the end when we get the big reveal, which of course is that Elizabeth Vogt and Simon do hook up, and it's a very nice scene actually. I thought you can tell as soon as she walks in the robe, okay, I know where this is going. But it all works quite well, as does Jesse's thing, as well as like they're training with the commander at one point, and like, hey, I need some more sparring partners, and they suit up, and Jess puts on like gladiator like armor and stuff like that. So
but cool. Simon looks like an Arabian.
He does,
raider.
Yeah,
I thought that was a fun. I've noticed in the last couple months we've actually seen Simon be more into his Islamic culture.
Yeah,
because we saw Priest. He was doing his prayers, and then here we see him right before, what's her name comes in. You just said it.
Elizabeth
girl.
Yeah, Vogt. Elizabeth Vogt. Yeah.
Before Elizabeth comes in, he's doing his prayers too. So, it's pretty cool. They're doing that.
Yeah. No, it's cool. But then she reveals that the Red Tide, which is basically this nationalist group who are against immigrants and they want just pure Hungarans. They planted the evidence, and she knows this because she's a member. Now I feel like she's probably turned over a new leaf, and she's like sort of coming over a bit.
This kind of fell flat for me. This reveal, because on one hand, okay, if she is actually part of them, I don't buy that she tells him after just this amount of a relationship. There's not enough there for me to buy it. If she's not, it's a really misleading sentence just for the sake of a cliffhanger, and I don't really like it.
It says, I am Red Tide.
Yeah, as if she's implying like she's the leader almost as well, perhaps.
I don't know if I'd say it implies that, but to tackle that first point you made about them not being together enough, I would argue that maybe it's not about that she feels comfortable enough to tell him now because of their relationship. I think it's that she wants to tell someone, and he's just the best person to do it with.
Maybe it'll go into that, and that'll be better. But right now, I just kind of don't buy it.
Honestly, I never really felt anything one way or the other about this. It never bothered me.
I kind of groaned. It's very tropey, isn't it? I'm like, ugh, okay. This.
Not just that. It's Seeley's writing, like, this is almost ripped from the headlines with some of the stuff that's going on, and the fact like they're calling the Green Lanterns Universalists. Like there's some comparison to the word globalist and whatnot, and with the Molites and Angara and all this other type of stuff. So I get that. It's weird when you do it with alien cultures and try to fit that in, because her whole thing, right, was she was like this pop star that was preaching peace, but then you find out that she's part of this violent nationalist movement, and it's weird. Like, it kind of comes out of left field.
Doesn't bother me.
Just doesn't line up for me at the minute. And I'm not
I don't know. I feel like right now all it is one line, and I'm sure they'll explore this more, and we'll see, the context of it as it goes on. I don't know. I enjoyed this quite a bit. There was almost nothing I have to complain about.
Yeah, just one colouring issue that I had is when they're down in the sewers tunnels. They got the green lights on, but it makes them look red. Like they just look red, like the others, and it just the colouring looked really weird to me.
There is some stuff down there that's quite nice. There's some good silhouette stuff when they're down the tunnels sneaking about.
There is. It's only a couple of panels here or there where they look red, and then it's.
Yeah, I took it they were masquerading as Angarans. Like that was maybe something the rings can do. Suddenly, that's how I just read it. I didn't even think it was a colouring issue.
Okay.
I don't know if I did like that they had like Green Lantern suits like to look like workmen's outfits. I thought that was a pretty nice little
Yeah, I think that's why I'm
touch.
questioning, because I think you might be right, because they kind of mention, oh yeah, well, we were in disguise, and I assume that was just the uniforms, but because again, like, why would the ring turn them red? I don't.
I don't have an answer for that. I mean, I never.
Yeah, I just took that out there and I was like, okay, that's weird. And then it's gone by the time they take on their Green Lantern
No,
uniforms.
that's it. Because he says, "Oh, drop the disguise," and then they go back to. So you actually might be right, but even if you are, that's still weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. Because we haven't seen that at all before.
Yeah.
In Green Lantern books, like it could have come in handy in numerous adventures, but yeah, weird.
Honestly, look at it.
Because I've just gone back and looked, and you can see it before they go inside the tunnel as well.
Let's hit it, Seeley. Let's get Seeley. Hit him up on the Twitter, and we'll ask him.
I don't know. I feel like I've harassed him enough on Twitter about mistakes.
All right.
Honestly, I feel like it's just the coloring is maybe just a touch too strong. I think that's
this is it. No, I think Matt might be onto it, because they're on it. They're red outside as well, and then it's as soon as they said, "Oh, they think we're Ungarans, drop the disguise," that they're back to normal.
Hold on. I'm trying to see the change.
Weird.
There's a clear change actually. When you look at Simon at the bottom of that page,
Yeah.
compared to the panels before it, it's a completely different shade.
So Ring can make them change their skin tone now. This is a thing now, apparently.
Yes.
I don't know. I think maybe. I would say no. It feels weird. I feel like that's just a colour mistake, and that's easier.
It feels weird and wrong, but
a colour mistake.
We're gonna have to ask Seeley. I'm sorry, Seeley. I know we bother you a lot, but
don't. He's going to blacklist his Connor. Stop it.
We'll invite him on the show, and he can defend himself.
I would like this show a lot, though. I like the whole murder mystery element of it. I like them working together. I liked Jessica's whole thing about asking, like, "Oh, how do you do this?" And I always want to ask Batman and Superman this, but I never want Flash to think I'm lame. So I'll ask you since no one else is around. It's just the idea of like, because you worry about the little things, and if you're a leader, if you're someone who's making these calls, you can only think of the big picture. You can't think of the little things, otherwise you'll just go mad.
Yeah, and I like that applies to the Podfather as well, where he's given himself up because he's thinking of the bigger picture, whereas he knows he didn't really do it, but it plays into it nicely. Thematically, the two leaders are actually very similar.
And I like this was all set up and it was sort of bubbling underneath the other plot for a while, and then we've came back to it. I really like that. I like how Seeley's kind of setting up the run, bouncing around things.
I think Angara needs a little bit of Sinestro just to whip him into shape. Just stop.
Oh sure, man.
Yes.
Get the
That's
dictator.
what everyone needs.
Yeah.
Oh, that could definitely blow up, and he could just end up ruling Angara because they really like what he's doing.
Now, amusingly, we're moving on to Nightwing, and the reason why I say amusingly is because obviously Green Lanterns and Nightwing swapped writers, and what I think is funny is I think Seeley is like kind of hinting or showing the promise that he might be better on Green Lanterns than Humphries was. But I actually think from this first Nightwing 35, which Sam Humphries is writing and Bernard Chang is on art, that Humphries might end up being a better Nightwing writer than Seeley was.
Potentially.
Because I feel like I was really into this issue. I like most of what it's doing. I like the build of this villain, the judge that they're setting up, and I like the art a lot as well, which is not really Humphries necessarily.
Yeah, that's Chang.
Honestly, I think the biggest benefit between the two writers is for a lot of Seeley's stuff, he was calling back to Grayson, and it played on. It was just the next step of that story still, whereas this actually feels like a fresh story now.
It does feel fresh.
In that sense. And it's not necessarily that it's better, but it's definitely easier to jump onto from the start.
I don't know. I feel like, and obviously I like Seeley's Nightwing. I was enjoying it pretty much the whole way through. Start to finish. But I don't know. I feel like I'm liking the tone of this issue. I'm liking the feel of the city.
And something that you mentioned on art, and just to go back to, I mentioned on the first issue of Seeley on Green Lanterns, I kind of mentioned how it's the same artist. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a shift to indicate that there's a new run, whereas here, no, it's very clearly different. It's like,
very different.
This is a different story, different tone, different art.
Yeah, it's playing with the whole idea of the nightlights of the city. There's a lot of that in the background throughout.
Yeah,
Nightwing's a little bit bulkier. Less sleek.
That first page is beautifully purple.
It is, yeah, a lot of neon and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's really, really, no, I like this a lot. And obviously it's not disregarding the previous run, so Vaboda is still a main thing here that they're using. He's using her.
It's still... Seeley left Nightwing in a good spot for Humphries to do what he needed to do. You know, he kind of closed out some other things, so it could feel fresh. Like with the Raptors. But, you know, Svoboda being there, that's some nice continuity between arcs.
And he's got a new gig. He's got a new sort of gym that he trains people at. It's not doing super well yet. He's only got 3 people, and one of them's pissed that it's not private lessons. But
just the whole culture of Bloodhaven, where you can just give people money, and they, you know, as a tip, quote unquote. I thought that was a nice thing.
Also, I really like when we were introduced to this idea, and we got even the floor plan is one of the panels of the thing. It says Nightwing in the back and business in the front, and I actually laughed because it made me think of his mullet from the 90s.
Yep, it couldn't have been an accident.
No.
And speaking of things for fans of Dick, there is a phenomenal ass shot as he gets into the ice bath.
I thought you said fans of Dick.
Very good. Very good.
That's fans of ass, I think you'll find, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No, this is good stuff, and I'm liking this villain, the Judge, who they have some flashbacks to indicate that, you know, Dick's ran into him a couple of times before, and this idea that he can just whisper something to you and give you the gold chip, the gold poker chip, and he can make you do something. So we see this old woman at the casino just stab the dealer, like it's nothing.
Yeah, he gives you what you want, you know, and man. I feel like that tree, the Justice Tree, that was planted in Bloodhaven, that's such a cool concept. I wonder how that's going to come into play.
Well, he mentions there's something wrong with the leaves, and he's asking his body to look into it. So
it's so kind of on the nose symbolic, isn't it? But I'm down for it.
Yeah.
That's
what Batman's baseball bat's made out of, wood from the Justice Tree.
That's how he hit that ball.
Yeah.
Of course, he needed a magic bat to hit Superman's fastball. Makes sense.
This is bordering on like propaganda from Newman at times. It really is.
Can we talk about just how hench Dick is? You know, like that scene where he's in the gym and he's just got the 2 weights on either hand.
I love it.
Just going. He's like, he's huge.
So wait, what does hench mean? Hench just means built.
Chunky.
Really bulky.
Okay.
Really chunky Dick.
Gotcha. Because I saw you say that in the Star Wars thread about Kylo.
Yeah.
And those scenes.
Oh, that's not built. He just has a weird body where his body's really wide, and then his body looks. Do you know that thing?
No, he is stacked.
No, he is, but I'm saying it's not just that. It's more than this. Other people who are muscly don't have this weird proportion problem. Like
that's not why I brought it up.
But that's the thing, though.
Saw him say it, and he said it again here.
If that scene with Kylo from that movie was in a comic book, I'd fault the artist and say, no, you did something wrong there. That looks.
No, we've already seen that.
Yeah,
it's true. Liefeld's Captain America.
That's a good point. Actually, sitting in the theater watching Star Wars, and I'm like, wait, who did the art on this? This is wrong. The proportions are off.
Adam Driver just has such a strange body. He looks like this lanky, uncoordinated fool, yet he's huge, but so far too broad.
I don't know.
It makes. I just didn't know what hench was, so it's basically he's yoked.
On the art, I actually do. I'm liking just a slightly different look to the Nightwing suit. Just the thicker symbol, not the thin stripes instead. I prefer. So it's just a personal taste thing. It's not really that it's better necessarily, but
you're saying you like thicker dick than thinner dick.
I'm saying I like thicker dick than thinner dick. Yes.
Get that drop.
Oh dear.
I'm really glad to have Chang around. I really like his art.
I do. Yeah,
fan for a while, so it's. I feel I've not seen him in a while.
Is it? I think he was doing Batman Beyond for a while, right?
Yeah, he's doing Batman Beyond, and then I was like, I just recently read an issue with this type of art, and that was Wonder Woman: The Circle that we read for the.
Yeah, that's right.
That 1 week. So
yeah, that makes sense. So he finds out about the Judge. He talks to Guppy, the shark fellow, the shark gentleman, and
again, never questioned once why there was a shark-headed guy walking around.
No, I just went with it, didn't I?
But that's the thing. We've already had Orca. We've already had various Bloodhaven
attracts these fellows.
Gorilla Grimm we had.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You just accept it, and it's cool. You got him running around, and
fine.
you find out about his dad. You know, his dad was some what was it again?
Stalling
He
till
hasn't
Marc
even
finds the
talked about
page, yes. Connor, so the big cliffhanger at the end, though, is that the judge has gotten to his Vaboda, and she shoots Dick off the roof.
Yeah. I love the way this sequence plays out. Like just the structure and the art and the panel layout.
Well, I think a big part of it as well is you have the narration from the judge throughout the issue, sort of talking about how he's coming after Nightwing and how he doesn't know he's coming. And
it plays so well because you focus in on the gun, on that. It goes just to the bold colors, and then you have Nightwing falling off at the top, and then the title come up, and then as it comes down,
it's the bright night lights again behind him of the city as he's falling. It just looks really pretty.
Colors are gorgeous.
And what I like about it is the whole issue, you feel like the judge is aware of Nightwing, he's coming for him, and Nightwing's not going to see it coming. And at the end of the issue, that you actually see it play out. You see the moment where he did not see it coming, and Svoboda shoots him. And she's got the gold chip. I think you get it anyway, but just to make you sure she has that gold chip.
Yeah.
It shines.
I think it's nice because it stops it being like a false cliffhanger. There's no, next issue, she had the gold chip. I mean, because we'd assume that anyway, but there's no... maybe she's gone rogue.
Yeah, I wouldn't have faulted it because I feel like there's enough information in the book to guess why she's done it.
There is, but it doesn't even bother pretending that's an option. It's just like,
that's fair.
We don't even want you to consider that.
If the judge gives you what you want, and she just wants Nightwing to be gone, then that's the way to do it. She tries to shoot him, but what I was gonna say about Guppy is it said that his dad was King Sturgeon, and he was mutated by some amulet. But so he's been running around.
Yeah, but I can't say I had much knowledge on Guppy before this, so...
No, either did I. So I didn't know if he was an established character that they just used because he looks cool.
I feel like he probably is. I feel like anytime there's a little character list pops up, I'm always like, that's been pulled out of some random issue of Detective Comics from the 70s.
I love how many fish people DC has.
Yeah. Well, it's when you get to Aquaman.
I know, King Shark in that one, yeah.
Well, yeah, but just even on land.
It's just the way that Svoboda says it. He says, his dad was King Surgeon, some old school bad guy, mutated by an aquatic amulet, or something dumb like that. Just like the way that she dismisses it. But it's normal for the blood, so...
Yeah, I like this issue a lot. I'm actually really... Because I was a little bit nervous before. I was like, what if this isn't as good? And I'm like, Nightwing's kind of like not a great book anymore. And, immediately I was kind of drawn into it, and I'm really into it.
It's got real style.
It's got potential. I'm feeling potential for this run.
What's funny is Nightwing's been the one character that since I started getting back into comics, I've always read that book. Like, I've dropped Flash at a certain point when Venditti was writing it, and I dropped Superman... But I've always had Dick Grayson in one book or another, whether it was Grayson or Nightwing.
Well, you can't not have
or Batman.
Dick. You can't give up Dick.
Yeah.
Always need Dick
Gotta
in
have
your
your
life.
hands full of Dick.
Yeah.
Gotta have your monthly dose.
Yeah.
Monthly dose of Dick.
Yeah. Swallow it right up, Matt. No. So.
Are we ever gonna get bored of these?
No.
Dick jokes never get old. I'm sorry. They're great.
We're about 12, right?
It feels that way at times. Anyway, so the only thing I'd add on to Nightwing before we move on is that I guess we shouldn't have been worried, because I think the big thing is, like, when they announced he was leaving Green Lanterns to do this, he's like, I didn't necessarily want to leave Green Lanterns, but I was offered like the dream gig, and the idea that this is someone he's always wanted to write is maybe why it is so good. Like maybe why people weren't as hot on Humphries when he was doing stuff at Marvel. Maybe he just hadn't got the character that he really loved yet, and it was like all the ideas he'd ever had to pour into them. So. Maybe that's it. I mean, but we enjoyed Green Lanterns. He did quite well in that after the first arc.
He was solid on Green Lanterns, don't get me wrong. But and that was up till then. That was the best thing I've ever read from him by far. This already, I feel like maybe it's the added extra, the art that's working more for me as well with the style. But I feel like I'm going to enjoy this more than I did his Green Lanterns. Yeah.
I feel like Seeley and Humphries are both benefiting from swapping books, which is actually kind of weird, but it's cool. Yeah, great. So that takes out to Batwoman number 10. We'll be a little bit quicker on these last two. We talked at length about a lot of these books. Batwoman number 10, Margaret Bennett writing, Fernando, Blanco and Marc Laming both on art. This is the end of the Scarecrow arc, where she formed into a Batwoman Monster Man thing at the end of the last issue. Connor didn't read these last two books, even though he does read them.
I ran out of time. My sleeping schedule's been kind of awful. I woke up 15 minutes before we were due to record this, and I thought, yeah, I'm not fitting those in.
I just wanted to point that out before people wonder why Connor's been so quiet as we're talking about these. I didn't love this arc of Batwoman. I definitely liked the first arc a lot more, and I think a big part of that may be the art. Not the art here's bad. It's just that first arc with Epting was.
It's hard to beat Epting's art.
It was beautiful,
And
I do think that some of the monster stuff felt a little like the first like chunk of this book where she's just the monster and she's sort of like terrorizing and until she runs into, of course, Sophia. And we can finally get our meeting there. And obviously, I like that she's not sure if that was real, and then she realizes at the end of the issue, oh no, she was really here. She's involved in this. I like that reveal. But this was a very odd kind of issue because it wrapped up kind of the main sort of crisis quite early on, and then a lot of it was like the follow up to it. It was Kane showing up and like debating with her about oh well, like, so you traded the symbol of ours for the bat. You're already obsessed with this one. Like are you really that much better? So
it shows that's what Kate does, though. She latches onto an idea, and then she turns herself into that idea.
Yeah.
So when she was dealing with tragedy, she became this. She was hooked on. It never was drugs, right? It's just alcohol. Like
what?
Because he keeps telling her, "What are you gonna do? Are you gonna hide? You gonna hide at the bottom of a bottle again?"
Oh yeah.
It's
just alcohol, I think. Yeah.
But it was never drugs, right?
I thought, when you said that, I thought you meant like the whole thing, the last couple issues. No, it was Scarecrow. It wasn't booze.
No, I'm talking about her past.
That's fine. I just misheard you. And I was like, no, it wasn't just booze. Like that doesn't make you turn into a monster.
No. Well, some people.
Well, I mean, figuratively.
But yeah, so she goes chasing all these things, and first it was the booze, and then it was Safia, and then it was training, and then it was becoming Batwoman, and she can never just be herself. And I like that Jacob questions her on that, like, who are you at the end of the day?
They're really setting up this thing where I feel like the Gotham Knights are going to fall apart, and her own book, The Solicit for March, was very kind of like, oh, we're getting to sort of dark Kate, where she's kind of ostracized from the group and whatnot. So they're definitely setting up. There definitely seems to be a plan with Batwoman for the next little while. What they've got set up going forward.
That's good, because I feel like you just can't have her be the woman version of Batman.
Oh, of course,
kind of going around the globe, and you need to make her unique as as Dick Grayson is from Bruce. And
because even in this issue, there was one point where she's, oh, Batman wouldn't do this, but I would. Batman wouldn't do this, but I would. And then eventually she ends with, and Batman wouldn't kill, but I. And she sort of doesn't get to say it. But it's definitely teasing the idea that she is the one Bat character who might break. I mean, all in Red Hood, of course, but proper Bat character who might break those rules. Because she's more of a soldier than the rest of them are. But just some of the hallucination stuff I felt like went on a bit too long. I think the arc would have benefited by maybe being an issue shorter than it was.
Yeah, I really want to know about these many hands of death, like because you have the brain, you have the heart, and you have all this. Like, I think that's a really cool new organization that we don't usually get. Like, even in Grayson with Spiral, you kind of hinted at that. Like, there was this evil group, but I like the idea that this exists in the DCU. You don't get that too much anymore.
Yeah, no. So I thought it was a decent issue. I thought it was a decent arc overall, but definitely paled in comparison, I think, to the first one. So I'm hoping the next issue onwards hits as well.
I'm never upset that I read Batwoman, but there have been some issues where I was like, okay, I'm glad this is monthly.
Yeah, not a double shipper. Yeah. That said, if it gets back to feeling like it did in the first arc, then I'll start being a little more enthusiastic. But that was Batwoman number 10, which will take us on to the last book of the week, which is Aquaman number 31, Dan Abnett writing. We've lost Cedric. We've now got Riccardo Federici on art. Now, obviously,
I didn't know that until I opened it. I was like, oh man,
I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was this issue specifically, but I knew it was coming soon. I knew we were sort of around that time where it was going to happen, and I think the interesting thing about the art is, one, the art's still very good. It's not bad art by any means. But I think what's really notable to me, and I'm glad about this, is that it seems like, that Cedric shift in art, everyone responded to that really positively. So they've said, that is the style going forward. The colouring that's here is similar to that colouring. The style, it's not the exact, is quite as good, but it's a very similar style to what he was doing.
Even Dolphin looked similar to Cedric's. Yeah. The way that she's, with the color of the blonde hair and her hands and feet.
Which is funny because I actually think one of the colouring changes is actually her hands and feet are a bit more blue. The blue's a bit stronger, but the overall desaturated look to the ocean, which I really like from his art, is still here. So I'm glad they're making it feel consistent, and I'm liking it that they've gotten away from what we had for so long. Since the start of Johnsy's run back at the New 52, they'd kept that for
which. I'm feeling it when I finish this issue that Abnett has really left his fingerprints on Aquaman going forward, which I don't think you could have said. Like you had the David era in the 90s with the hook hand, but until John's really nothing. It just kind of he was kind of like the ocean where he just ebbed and flowed with whatever. Even the John's run, you kind of felt like he was directionless. Like he wanted to do Atlantis stuff, but kind of not really.
Well, I think what I've loved about since issue 25 is this exploration of Atlantis is more of an actual city with parts to it and different people in it.
Like a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been digging that, and I like this issue as well. I liked what it's doing. I like the idea that what's his name? Blanco actually references that he's basically being Batman in the ocean. He's like, taking some lessons from that scary one from Gotham, eh? Like, he's calling him out on it.
Well, also, I love where he goes, I can be your advisor. He's like, you were my advisor, and I trusted you, and you betrayed me if you don't remember. And I like that they're calling back to Throne of Atlantis.
Because you see him saving this group of people. Basically, like, Wrath's men are just going to start murdering people they don't like. And they're working their way through. Yeah, they're working their way down. They're on the 7th Trade right now, and they're working their way down to the 9th. And King Shark's kind of taking the reins in the 9th Trade. And ultimately, the plan though that he's convinced of, because he's refusing that he's not going to be king when this is done. He's fighting to like break them free from the reign of Wrath, but he does not want to be king. And you get the idea that the widows from the Widow Tower are like, oh, we want Mira to be be queen and be the ruler of Atlantis.
And that's kind of always what they wanted from the beginning of this, where kind of when I stopped reading the first time was with the sisterhood stuff, where it's like, well, no, Mara, like, you need to go through these traditions. That's your job as queen. And little did we know that they were just priming her to actually take over for Arthur. Yeah. Because that was their preferred. And I feel like Atlantis could use that change. If not Arthur, then it should be. And I also, Orm's still kicking around somewhere.
He is.
I haven't seen him since Forever Evil, but...
Yeah,
he's kicking around.
It's worth mentioning. And then what's his face? The name. His guard who is still on his side. We found out just recently. Sorry, Marc. Yeah, Marc. Yeah, Marc. That's it. Like we found out recently, he's still on his side, and we didn't see him this issue. What's he up to? What's he doing? So all very curious. And of course, the whole plan is that Arthur goes to King Shark and is like, hey, they're going to come down here and they're going to start murdering you. Like, they don't care, they just want to commit genocide. If you actually help us, if you come with the resistance, you can fight back. And our enemy, we've got a common enemy. Yeah. So I really like that idea. And of course, the end of the issue, Dolphin and someone else find Mira. Mira's been kept alive because, as we know from the last issue, when she went through the thorns, something went wrong. The magic wasn't quite right, and now she can't breathe underwater. So they've got her in like a sort of Atlantis tank thing for oxygen breathers.
She's running out of air.
And it's running out. She's so Mira's finally interacting with the main cast of the plot that we've had since 25. So it's pretty cool.
And I like that too, because they have been apart, and they keep mentioning that the reason that Aquaman's doing this is so he can get back to Mira, because he just wants to go live in the lighthouse, kind of be done with Atlantis and be a superhero.
Yep.
And so the fact now that she's there but not, I feel tragedy is along their way. Whether, he can't enter Atlantis if she becomes queen or something, or it completely uproots the culture. I don't feel this ends well. And I like that. Abnett's doing some real cool stuff.
Yeah, it's a nice turn. Obviously, we spoke a lot about how it was kind of lackluster for the first chunk, and then it picked up, and then it's proper enjoyable now. I'm glad. I mean, again,
he set the table with the Black Manta stuff, so then we could get to, well, he's a bad king, so now we have Wrath, who, when you think of Aquaman villains, it's Ocean Master and Black Manta, and now we have Quorum Wrath, so that's cool. Like, I like that he's a proper addition there.
Yeah. So, much like Batwoman, I'm glad it's monthly. I think double shipping was too much for it, but I think as a good, solid monthly book, I am enjoying it. So, No, Aquaman's still good. So there you go. That is this week's comics, which gets us on to the nice, fun part of the show every week, where we pick our favourites. We pick our favourite art slash, some favourite art, favourite cover, and we pick our favourite panel slash moment from the books, and then do our top 5 books of the week. It's a very, very strong week, so this will be interesting. So we'll start with best panel slash moment, and we'll go with Connor first, since he's been quiet.
I'm actually just going to go with the opening page of Metal, that the storybook version of the recap. I loved that. That kind of set me up for what I was getting into.
Cool, Matt.
So I have so many this week. It's very hard. There's a lot of great moments.
There is.
I really want to say Connor showing up finally, but that's
too easy.
Me. It is, right? Like that's what people expect. So it's probably going to be, there's this in Batman. There's this panel of Selina and Lois leaning into each other, sharing Lois's flask, and I just love how whatever the girl version of bros are, that's what Selina and Lois are, and that panel just captures it perfectly.
Yeah, they relate in a way that perhaps. This is a tough one this week. It's actually.
It is.
I have a lot of books that I could be picking one from, and I don't have an obvious one to go to this week.
Also, that we didn't talk about in Super Sons.
Go
I'm
on.
going to do this to buy Pete some more time, so he's not.
Absolutely, yeah. Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, when John makes his first appearance and he makes that Z from the panels with the red streak, I thought that was super cool looking too. And they thought that it was Kid Flash. So there's a lot of good stuff this week. A lot of good moments.
There is. It's a very, very good week actually. Very, very consistent week as well.
Yeah, can't fault it. No. Okay, well I think I'm just going to have to be.
Be a boring bastard.
What? This is actually a really silly pick, but you know what?
It's from Justice League.
No, if he says hitting the baseball.
No, it's from Justice League. I don't know why, but for some reason I love seeing the Justice League toilet. I don't know what it is.
I knew that's when he said silly. I knew where he was going.
But I don't know what it is. But do you know what it is? Because I'm someone who does like to read in the toilet, right? So I relate to this moment.
Well, it's just a waste of time otherwise.
It is a waste of time.
Yeah.
But the idea that she multitasks and listens to stuff as well as reading while she's on the toilet is just like, I'm like, the girl's doing things that I can only be dreaming of. It's insane. Making use of that time in
This is why she's a superhero.
This is why she's a superhero.
Jeez.
Oh, by the way, when we get to the end of your show, the annual, in a week or two, I will say this, that toilet seat's the moment of the year, right? I don't have to think about it just is. I can tell you right now. Come on, I'm cracking a joke. Alright, okay. Best...
Are you though?
No, we don't.
Oh,
Don't worry. That wasn't a thing. No, that's not a thing.
Oh, Jesus, you had me worried.
No. Next 2 weeks, Car's just looking through every issue of the year, just going,
that's a heavy question. So where do I even start?
So Matt, best cover of the week.
So this was a tough week because there's a Manipul cover, but I'm not that big on it. But then you have the Nightwing cover that just sums everything up super well. But then you have the Sejic Aquaman cover too.
There's a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
I won't be picking it, but I do want to put it. I actually relate the variant to Batman as well.
Yeah.
It's a nice cover. But there's a lot of good covers.
So I'm gonna have to go with Aquaman because that's Sejic cover. I just like the way with the blues, and then you have Dolphin and Aquaman and Mera coming up, rising up.
I mean, obviously, it's not super representative of the of the issue itself, but that's obviously not a new problem for a comic book.
No.
I'm actually going to go with Nightwing. Out of the main covers, I think Nightwing's the nicest. Although, again, the variant for Nightwing is also very nice, which is the ass shot where he's in the air, pointing his ass at the reader.
Hey, people!
But the main one's quite nice.
Giving them what they want.
Yeah, give them what they want.
No, I agree with all the covers I've been talking about. I'd throw in Metal as well in that discussion. I think it's got a really nice cover.
It's a little busy for me. But
I just love the cosmic and the looking
Yeah.
down, and I think it's just a really nice cover. But I will have to give it to Aquaman. I think that cover has a real sense of motion.
Oh, that's beautiful. Can't fault it. So, best art of the week. I guess I should go first for one of these, shouldn't I? And this is kind of a fight this week.
It's actually, yeah. I've got at least two, maybe three.
I feel like Superman, Nightwing, Batman are all contenders for me. Mel's pretty good, but this was a little bit busier, I think, just in general.
That's fair. I in the same way, I kind of have had to disregard Batman this week because of the thing with the faces bothered me too much to give it a best art.
That's fair. I think I'm going with Superman. I really liked the Jiimenez fights. I feel like that issue was mostly sold on art. Like the art carried that issue. And not because it was badly written, but just because they decided to make that just the two fights. So it's mostly the art that's doing the heavy lifting. And I think it does. I actually think it completely sails on it. So
that's fair.
Superman. Matt.
Mine's Batman. Just them walking around the fair. We know how much I love when Lois and Clark go to a fair, right?
Oh, that's true. Like, yeah, it's not the first time in this Rebirth era.
And man, just again, Clark wearing his glasses with the cowl on. Just that's commitment.
What's funny about that is it took me a second to realise what was wrong with the face. I was like, what's this extra thing in his face? I was like, oh, he's wearing glasses over the cowl like a madman.
Yeah, and then we talked about there's all those little small moments too, and I thought it works out well, despite Connor pointing out that evident flaw in the faces. So.
All right, Connor.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the faces, it would have been Batman probably, but. I'm gonna have to give it to Nightwing. It's got such a sense of style that it kind of shifts the tone of the book entirely, and like that first page. I don't even think there's any dialogue. It's just it's just one big splash, and it's just like
there's the narration boxes.
There's the narration, yeah. But like even just like you just look at it and you go, okay, this is different.
Yeah, okay, that's totally fair. Which is like top 5 books of the week. So, Connor, it's back to you.
Back to me. Okay.
This is actually really hard this week. I've not thought about this at all.
No, I haven't either. This is tough. I think I'm gonna start with Batman. Despite the art problem, it's still up there. It's still a great issue. Yeah, I can't fault it that much. Second, I'm actually gonna give Nightwing. Third. See, Superman and Super Sons are really hard to separate in my mind because I just kind of read them together. So maybe Superman third, then Super Sons, and then Metal at 5.
Okay, Matt.
Mine's eerily similar, just different orders. So number 1's Batman, and then number 2 and 3 are the 1-2 punch of Superman and Super Sons. And then Nightwing 4 and then Metal 5. And it's weird to put Metal 5 because there's a lot that I like there, but those top 4 did stuff with characters that I love versus just being a big, fun story, So
yeah, this is a tough week. I feel like there's one book that is typically on these weeks been popping in my top 5 all the time, which I think is not going to this time, just purely because of the competition. So, number 1... I'm going to have to break it and not give it the unanimous because I'm not going with Batman. And I love it, I do, but I think I have to.
I'm telling Tom King.
I have to put Nightwing at number 1. I love that issue of Nightwing. Nightwing number 1, Batman at number 2, You
got the same problem we have, haven't you?
Super. The plot's better than one, but the art's much better than the other. So
that's it. I think Superman is. I ultimately gave that higher just because it reads better.
I probably did it because it was part 1. No, that's just
but the plot that comes out. No, Superman at number 3. Super Sons at number 4, and then Justice League at number 5. The one I was referring to that's usually been popping in there recently has been Green Lanterns,
Batwoman.
And that would be Green Lanterns. Which and that would be next.
Catwoman in top 5.
But no, that's where we are.
Not surprised to not have Metal on your top 5, given your opinion.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, Metal probably be my that and Batwoman are kind of down at the bottom of my list this week.
Wow.
Both good qualities in them, but you know.
Well, I mean, credit to it when that's the worst of a week.
No, absolutely. It was a really good week. Like, I felt bad. I feel like some people, if this is their first episode of the show, and we start with Metal, and I'm like, oh, I need to be negative because of blah 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 blah, and like, oh, this guy's gonna hate everything, and then like I'm just super positive about the rest of the books, like every single one of them. I feel like in most cases today, I was defending things that Connor was trying to complain about.
Legitimate complaints.
I didn't say they weren't.
I know sometimes you'll be like, you just complain about things for the sake of it.
Sometimes you do.
Not this time.
Yeah, for the most part. So anyway, that's been this week's show. So I shall tell you what's coming next week, which I forgot to have ready. I'm not going to lie. But it shan't take me long. So we got week 4 next week, which I believe means Doomsday Clock is back in action once again.
Tick tock.
Right,
Doomsday Clock.
We got Doomsday Clock number 2. We have Doomsday Clock number 2. My scroll went a bit wonky there. Doomsday Clock number 2. We have Hawkman Found number 1. So we got another Metal book. Then we also have the next of the Super Sons crossover with Teen Titans 15. So we have 2 events and a crossover book next week. 3 different things all going at once to headline the show. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. No one wanted a quiet week to end out the year, right?
No one did. No. Then we have Detective Comics 971,
Nice.
Action Comics 994, Wonder Woman 37, Flash 37, Batgirl 18. And Batman, Creature of the Night number 2, and Nightwing, The New Order number 5. That's the ones we're covering. Also out, but we will not be covering, are Hal Jordan, The Green Lantern Corps 35, The Demon, Hell is Earth number 2, Batman Beyond 15, Blue Beetle 16, The Hellblazer 17, Justice League of America number 21, and Suicide Squad number 32. So that's what's coming out next week in terms of the issues. So by all means, and obviously enjoy Christmas as well, because next time we speak to you, it'll be after Christmas. So yeah, have a nice Christmas. Do that. We will have the bonus episode, the annual episode, sometime early January. We've not scheduled it in yet to when we're going to do it, but it's just the plans are formulating. It's happening. It's a thing. But that has been episode 83 of Comics from the Multiverse. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. I keep reading comics. If you want to support the show and support the channel and everything we do, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can do that over there. Get some bonuses like the monthly episode. Me and Connor just finished reading the book for the monthly Green Lantern Sector 2814 Volume 1. We're going to be recording that likely tomorrow night, I think. And that'll be going up. You also get to vote when there's a week 5, and we do a trade there. So there's some things in there, but mostly just if you like the show and want to support, you can do that. You'll find a link to that in the description, along with some other useful things. You can get it on Twitters at DC Comics Podcast. Again, I'm still amazed every time I say that we got that name, that handle.
I know.
I don't know how that happened, but somehow it was free. And there you go.
Idiots didn't think to check.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
what it is.
assumed.
I think everyone just assumed that wasn't free, so we ended up just being able to get it, later down the line. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We love you loads. Keep reading comics. Have a very nice Christmas, and we'll see you one more time before the end of the year. So have a good one. Keep reading comics, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
Titans together.